Hast du einen Clown zum Frühstück gegessen?
What does that mean? Neal feel good.
How do you feel?
Good.
You stupid.
Hi, everyone. I'm Neil Brennan. This is a podcast that I started 2 years ago with my friend Bianca.
Hi.
Bianca, how was your week?
I'm gonna remember this.
Blackout. You're gonna black
No,
out?
no. I went to the park. I went to the park. I went to
What's
park.
that, senile old lady? I ate Rice Krispie treats.
No.
They were sweet. Go ahead.
It was my friend's birthday, and she had a social distance park party.
Okay.
Hey.
And it was fun?
It was nice. It just felt a little
No
normal.
masks?
Oh,
Were we
no
used
masks.
to do it?
No.
Masks?
Masks when you got close, and then when you're on your own blanket.
When you went at the end of the story, you'd put the mask on when you really needed to lean in.
No, so that was nice. It was nice. It was the grass, the blanket.
I've
Dark.
noticed, I did 2 stand-up shows this week.
Mm.
I noticed that it's great to be outside, all that stuff. But I've also noticed that it doesn't take long for me to get impatient in the exact same way I got impatient a year and a half ago.
What are you impatient about?
Just people. Like people not moving, or one of the shows
we'll
was
go
like a
back.
gate, and then people won't close the gate. And I'm like, would you close the goddamn gate?
We'll go right back.
Yeah.
I don't believe we're going to be. I think some people will take away, those old ladies that don't throw out anything because they were raised during the Great Depression. There'll be some
Me?
people.
That's me. Go ahead. We'll start the clock, please.
We'll start your clock.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think there's gonna be some people who take away, but I find once the oppression is lifted, there's a backlash.
I just find it takes so little time.
Yeah, there's a backlash. So there's the pendulum swings the other way for a second, and it's back to normal.
Like the Roaring 20s were. I mean, one of the explanations is because it was after the flu pandemic.
Right.
To which I say maybe. I don't know if that. I don't think anyone who is. I'm of the mind that more people realize they were introverts.
Well, the problem is from 1918 to 1920, life was just suckier.
Mm-hmm.
So we can be in our homes and have phone.
Mm-hmm.
We can have some access to the same shit.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a discrepancy. Whereas I think
they were all in solitary.
Yeah.
In 1918.
It was awful.
It was a colorless room. They basically had no taste. They had no smell and no taste,
dude.
and no color.
No taste. Oh, no taste.
And they,
I thought you meant.
Bad taste.
I thought you meant Republican
hey.
style. Yeah. So I think it'd be way worse.
You think that their quarantine was way worse than our quarantine.
Way worse.
And a lot of people died. That might have been the thing that if the Roaring 20s was inspired by the flu pandemic, seeing 50 to 100 million people die worldwide must have been like, all right. Woo, okay. You're not playing about this life is short thing. Okay, Here we go. Now, with that in mind, and we've talked about this before, I don't know how much differently I'm going to live my life as a result of this time.
You're a quarantine boy. You're a little bed boy, quarantine boy.
Yep.
Because.
What are you going to do? I wonder.
I mean, a lot.
You're going to do different shit?
Different than before?
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know if the new lease on life thing, I think, is debatable.
Yeah, no. I want it to desperately go back. I think that's the thing. I like you, but you live kind of a solitary life. Yeah. So has this been that trying on you?
No. I've flourished. It's the
He's
best
thrived.
thing that ever happened to me. I'm actually rooting against the vaccine quietly. No, but I wonder. I do want the freedom. I want my freedom.
Freedoms.
I want my freedoms, but I don't think I'm gonna do. Maybe. I mean, I've cut a lot of people off during pandemic.
I think because you used to say before, or a few years before the pandemic, we were talking once, and you said you made these declarations. I'm not ever going to another party.
Yeah,
I think you would go to party.
I think that's. I have some bad news for you. I got some bad news for you.
Tell me.
I'm gonna restate my vows.
Double down?
I will never go to I don't think I'll ever go to another party. I really don't. It would take
why? What the heck?
Because I don't. It makes me anxious.
Okay, well that's good. But
just makes me anxious.
Do you have social anxiety? Because you don't seem like you do.
No, I don't have social anxiety. I despise. I shouldn't say despise. I loathe small talk and like, hey, huh, bap, beep, bop, beep, bop.
Be the guy that doesn't small talk at party.
Of course, that's who I am.
Okay.
And then people go, this is getting deep, and I'm like, I don't care about fucking what your dog, what dog park you go to. I don't care.
I've seen you at a party, but it's always people you know, so you don't.
Yeah. What party have you seen me at? Oh, you sent me the Mark Twain.
No, what? I've seen you at multiple parties. We went to a party once. Your friend off of Melrose. There's a lot of white liberals.
I don't remember.
It was the whitest liberalist party. They do podcasts. They're nice people.
Oh, Lovett and Ronan Farrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go.
And you were being great.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not charming as all get out.
Come on.
Look, I'm not good. When I have to be. I like a comedy. Hey.
Yeah, and you do hang out. You do a comedy.
I don't know. I'd rather just eat with one person.
What about two people? Dinner parties.
2 people. Okay, 2 people.
Okay, fine.
That's
it.
4. I get hives, and they slowly build up my chest. What did I do? Great question. Did 2 shows, and I've been presetting my internet limits with the Freedom app. So now every day from noon to 5, I have no internet, and it's forced me to read and write. It's forced me to basically be in the flu pandemic of 1918.
And what have you written?
Just
jokes. No. Or
jokes
actual
and a sitcom.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, it's so much. I just
what
don't
a
mind.
waste of a day.
I know. I don't mind writing, reading.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
So during the day, do you do it outside at least?
No, but I do. I have started. Rock is staying nearby, so we've been taking walks. Which is cute.
You guys are
it's pretty cute.
Grumpy old men.
Yeah.
2
retired cops. And we take walks, and I've been walking just to like Rite Aid. Things that I used to drive to. I'm like, walk.
The funniest thing
Go ahead
is
and walk 1.6 miles.
You guys went to the grocery store. That's so funny.
That's the best. And we talked about it. Me and Rock went to the grocery store. And at one point, I looked over, and Rock was leaning on the oranges, but with his hand on the oranges, not having any idea what he was doing. And I didn't have the heart to tell him how bad it looked because of Bring the Pain. So I can't. I lose my voice. Anyhow, did you see the week?
Woo. Wow.
Woo.
Our week.
To
was
quote John
nothing.
Lovett, what a week. As somebody who lives in California, and many of my friends moved to Texas because it's a better run state.
So
I believe the internet term is you hate to see it. You hate to see that a better run state is either faint praise or an oxymoron. You pick. It's either like what do you? It's just a different poorly run. It's a different way to run a state improperly.
Right.
And the weather and the climate change and it's a real look. It was. I don't want to say it was a whole vindication for me, but
Was it a little satisfying?
Well, no, I don't. I actually
Not
don't
the
want
people.
I don't want people to be without power.
No,
but
not
I just
the people,
like when
but
they're
just
like,
when
whenever it's the way the world works is anytime you say you know what's great about this place, blind, it's gonna not the opposite's gonna happen.
right.
It automatically. I remember a friend of mine saying, you know what I like about this girl? She's got a job. And the minute I heard it, I said, you know, she just got fired the minute you said that. Like, the thing you like is what's going to go away.
Yeah.
So, you know, what are your feelings about Texas? Do you have any broad feelings about Texas?
Well, they're so quick to, secede and
There's never been a cockier state than, I mean,
they're very cocky.
They're
very,
their own
very
category of arrogance where it's just insane.
right.
It's insane.
But
like, what are you talking? Like, they're like the guy with a small dick who's constantly talking about like, I laid some pipe last night. I'm like,
oh, I
what
know.
do you? Why?
That
Just shut
is
up.
the type of guy.
Just shut up.
Too funny. Yeah. They're so arrogant about being from Texas.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're from California.
Yeah, pretty good state. I mean,
we're pretty chill about it. You know what I mean? So I
California, the difference between California and Texas, California is, they did a study where they saw that people who, how could you have possibly brought that sound effect on? And what happened to it? The people,
Son?
now you close with it. All right, I see what you're doing. It's still wrong, but I see what you're doing. But at least it's visibly wrong instead of the invisible wrongness you normally bring to the show. He couldn't remember to start the clock at the beginning. How could he possibly remember? He had to hit one button. He had to hit record. He's not going to be able to hit. He couldn't possibly have a. You need a protocol sheet of like. Okay, like pilots, like a checklist. I have a book called The Checklist Manifesto that I'll give you. You'd think Will would learn being around someone as fastidious as me, and he's actually gotten worse. He's regressed. Now,
that's your
the
fault.
study was people in other states believe that people in California are happier than other people.
We are. I think we are.
I would argue that we are. California is so, like, the weather's so nice out here, you almost can't talk about it. It's, like, rude to talk about it.
They make fun of us when it's windy. Like,
no,
wind.
I know.
No, and we are pussies.
Of course we're pussies. We're spoiled. It's fucking perfect.
When it was very windy last week.
Yeah.
Oh, that also happened last week. High winds. And...
See, that's only in California is that worth talking about on the podcast. Oh, that was so windy.
And I just laughed.
I almost didn't make it to the podcast. It was so windy.
We cannot talk about our high winds.
It's just, it's like our problems are not real problems. That we can't, we're like the rich. It was like what America is to the world, California is to America.
Yeah, I mean, we have a thing called Santa Ana winds, which are warm winds from the desert that warm up
but they're like
winter.
35 miles an hour, so it's really scary.
It's really scary, and
they're 78 degrees.
They make between 75 and 90 degrees in the middle of winter.
One of the nicest memories of my life is the first time I experienced Santa Ana winds.
I love them so much.
When I was walking along Sunset in 1990 something, you know how I am with my story. Things happened a long time ago, and
they're so lovely, and we can't talk
about. Thought of
about
another
them.
premiere I went to.
What?
Summer of Sam. I'm an old man, I tell you. I'm an old man.
That John Leguizamo.
Yeah, amongst others. 98, 99. So Texas has they have to brag about it. If it were great, they wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah,
it's like where people don't talk about cocaine. They'll tell one person they have coke, but they don't tell everybody. California's got cocaine, is my point. There's a metaphor in there. I think it got lost. I got overwhelmed. I got so overwhelmed. And poor Ted Cruz.
He was trying to be a good dad.
Yes, and trying to be a good dad, and it's just a piece of shit. I mean, it's just like he's just a piece of shit. Like even
We've
at a certain
established
point,
it already, but
Texas is gonna have to be like, all right, man. I don't understand why you would.
he
I
got
guess he
reelected.
votes for them, so who gives a shit? He
Yeah,
votes
but
for what they want.
he does, but even Texas thought it was.
Well,
in
that's
poor taste.
Texas. It's like, what myths does Texas tell about itself? That what he did is not one of the like, you know how we are
Right.
in Texas.
Right.
When there's a storm, we run to Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Or Cancun.
Cancun.
We don't pronounce nothing right. So yeah, he's just a piece of shit. And to quote Al Franken, I like Ted Cruz more than pretty much anyone else in the Senate does, and I hate Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz.
So rest in power, King.
For real. He also, though, Texas, why are they so against? I know they have this laissez-faire traditional Republican, like, get the government out of my, like how things do with states' rights, but I don't get why it has to be on everything. It's just, it's so petty. Their legislation is petty.
The story they tell themselves. It's literally the story. Like, we don't get the federal government. They ignore all of the federal government benefits they get.
Right.
Which is a lot of their budget. And we don't see around here. We do it. Nope. You're entirely tied into the federal government. And stop it. Just stop it. It's like their whole thing of like, I need a giant truck to carry around my hay. Meanwhile, no one's using the beds of their truck. They just have it for show. And I need a hat and boots because I might have to stomp an ox later or whatever. And it's just the myths they tell them. I was listening right before we started to a Ezra Klein podcast about it. The subject was the price we all pay for racism. Basically, the woman saying that because of racism, like white people pay. Like for instance, the best example is Montgomery, Alabama, from 1955 to 1965. Once black people had more rights, the city of Montgomery closed their parks and recreation department and sold the animals they just didn't want. If black people were going to use it, they didn't want to have it.
Yeah.
And it's like there's something akin to Texas where it's like, well, there's the myth we tell ourselves about how, and then white people claim, it's the thing I've been saying, that if there were no black people in America, Obamacare would have been passed 100 years ago. Like, they're proven.
It's just cut your nose off to spite your face.
Yes.
If I can't, if you're going to, no one can have it.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah.
Why people can't go to the zoo?
Yeah. Kids can't go to the zoo. Well, you might run into some blacks. Just like, fucking, okay. That's a long time ago, but there's more.
Recent examples.
Tons of recent examples.
Of course. I mean.
And Texas would rather. There are people in Texas who believe that it's worth what happened with the power grid just so we don't have to deal with the feds.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
This is the only time
people died,
I've seen,
buddy. 40-something people died.
I know. The child that just froze to death was so awful. I'm like, what is really worth it? I mean, I do think, though, if you do live in a southern state, it's not about taking care of people. Did you see the email, the thing the guy wrote before he resigned?
Which one?
That's really how they feel.
It's about taking care of people, but acting like it's fierce independence.
You should see what he said. He said, it is not our job to take care of you.
Right, but what I'm saying is, but yet they get half of them are on Medicaid.
Oh, of course.
And they don't realize it. It's like that. Well, I paid
the amount of farmer subsidies that we give to, it's just rough.
No one owes you. You are your family. All right, so it's 6 words and one is misspelled. Like right there. The whole thing should just be erased. That's Tim Boyd. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah. And he wrote that and then resigned from some position that. We are all survivalists.
I mean, that's that thing about you want to see small government.
Mayor of Colorado City.
Yeah, if you want to see small government, look at Rwanda. Small government.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. Doesn't provides nothing. But it's small. So, and that's their thing of like, I want to tell myself I'm the type of man who lives in a small. Like, do you want to live in Savage Town? Because I just don't at all.
Right.
I don't at all. I want paved roads and I want infrastructure and I want a bath. You know what I want.
We know what you want.
So
ice cream.
So
also, I think we take for granted just how fucking complicated creating this country was, and how many theories and ideological arguments they had to make of no, but if this, what happens this, then it's not easy. It wasn't easy, and so there are just parts of the government that function better than other. There's parts of our government that function better than other governments in the world, and that's why we have them. And I feel like some people just equate all of the government as bad. I don't fucking like the government. I think it's poorly run. There's not a really good example. Maybe in, I don't know, Iceland.
Yeah, I mean,
there's like smaller Nordic.
Yeah, all the Finland, Norway, all that belt is good.
It's good, but they also don't have as many.
Black people.
They have black people. Just not as many racial issues.
Once they let in refugees, they started having.
They're like,
then it like kicked
are we
up.
racist?
Like their antibodies kicked in. Like, ugh. Like they fucking came out of the coma in the Matrix. Like, who are you?
So I just don't get I understand why in Texas and in the South and people don't have these issues, but they showed this town that's on the border of Arkansas and Texas, and
one side paved and one side
great.
Wasn't. Yeah.
So what the fuck is going on in Texas when Arkansas is doing better than you? Arkansas.
Well, it's Republicans love saying government doesn't work. Elect me and I'll show you how. Like that, I'll prove it to you. They elect me and I'll prove it. And then they get elected and they go, oh, this is filibuster and fucking we got to go and break and I'm on to Cancun. We're going to Cancun.
Moving on.
Rest in power, King.
Texas?
Well, of course, but more so Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, hello. You know what? Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something?
Go.
Mandela effect. I thought he died last year. I thought he's been dead this whole time. Because didn't he get honored by Trump?
Yeah, what happens
is
you
rainbow?
get the announcement comes out. He announced that he was sick. Then he got the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Yes, the rainbow one.
But here's the thing about Presidential Medal of Freedom. You don't die in your sleep that night.
No?
No.
I don't know why. I just thought he died. And I thought Trump said something.
You should. That is how it should work. And you go like, I'm not ready for it. And then they give it to you and then you die.
So when he died, I was like, this motherfucker already died. Mandela effect.
Well, I thinking about the medal and then death. When I guess they don't really put people to sleep, but they know when they pull the plug on people, I feel like I guess they give people morphine, but they should also have like a video from a celebrity wishing them good luck. Something fun to go with. Something like if we're so I believe that there's a over too large amount of concern paid to people's last moments. Like I know he wasn't in pain. I think I've said here, like, if I'm in pain or not, or I don't think that's going to indicate my life. Yeah. I don't think that's an I'd prefer to be getting my dick sucked. Wow. Who wouldn't want to be getting it? But I'm saying
in Cancun.
Yeah, but I'm saying I just don't think it's a barometer of a life, a good life or not.
Think of our relatives.
Mm-hmm. Our relatives? Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, you want to start this?
Okay.
You will lose.
King of the mumbles.
You will lose.
The mumble in the jungle. Go ahead.
If you think about your relatives, you wouldn't. It's more for us. We don't want to think that they suffered when they were dying.
Yeah.
Seems cruel. Extra.
I don't want them to suffer. But if we don't want them to suffer, we should figure out a thing that makes their last. If we know it's like, do it like a countdown, like 10.
It's ball drop.
Yeah, so it's an exciting thing for them.
Death drop. Bring in the drags.
Something positive. A party at something. If we're actually concerned. I don't know.
Party. A death party.
Yeah. I mean, I'm of the mind that like it's the smell your flowers thing and
well, that's fine if you're terminal, and we know it's not, obviously you can't do that if you don't know, but the terminal illnesses, I think that's cool. I think it's a way we look at it in this country. But there's certain places that have the body on display and make a party.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What do you want me to do for you?
I guess if we're true, we need to figure out a protocol, an end of life protocol for people, so that there's some uniform positivity. Because how many people do you think die suddenly versus just ballpark it in your
I don't
head?
think most people die suddenly.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm gonna go 80%. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I'm not shocked.
Right.
Versus like, what? Neal, look out!
Right. Duck.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So now we're talking about Rush Limbaugh. If you're just joining us, here's what I'll say about Rush Limbaugh. There was a Vox podcast about his origin story.
Yeah.
Do you remember Morton Downey Jr. from the 80s and 90s?
No.
He was.
Is he related?
No.
Really?
No. Were you to Robert Downey?
Yeah.
No. Robert Downey. There's a Robert Downey Sr.
Oh yeah. It wouldn't be
Morton
Junior.
Downey Jr. was. He was like a talk show. He had a talk show host in the 80s that was a combo talk show, like
God,
Oprah, Phil Donahue, Oprah, Sally Jesse.
Okay.
And like sideshow, like real wacky.
So like
on this.
add in
like a lot of white supremacists. Like he had a regular white supremacists. Like you'd know their name. Like it was a real sideshow. He got sort of finally
like Jerry Springer
worked like so much. Yes, but Jerry Springer is like a civilized version of Morton Downey.
Wow.
Yeah. Like
I want to watch this shit.
There was a documentary. It's good.
Interesting.
It's not like great, but it's pretty good.
Did you watch the show?
Yeah, because I was like 8th grade. It was perfect.
It was just stupid.
Yeah, it was dumb and like, well, all right, let me tell you something.
Like wrestling.
It was like wrestling and
wrestling.
talk show. So anyhow, he got canceled, and then Rush took his time slot. And before that, he was a sports guy. He was just a classic rock. Rush Limbaugh was like a classic rock guy. And then he took over Morton Downey and kind of just did it, but more sophisticated. And I'll say this for Rush Limbaugh, an amazing broadcaster. A virulent person, but in terms of just his voice, and he would say like talent on loan from God. That was his sign off or his like sign in or something.
Yeah.
An amazing, literally one of the best radio people that's ever been. Total garbage person. Completely disagree with everything he said. Technically, a perfect specimen for how to be a broadcaster. And that's why I listen to him every night before I go to sleep.
This is Neal.
And then he also made an incredible, he made $85 million a year.
Oh, he was loaded.
Yeah. He signed an 8-year, $40 million deal.
That's though.
I'm sorry, 400.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You missed a zero.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
By the way, speaking of Mrs. Zero, the guy I did the Gatorade spot with, the Fernando Tatis, the young guy with the dreads, he signed a 16-year.
16 years.
Look up the numbers.
To do a sports?
Tatis Jr.
No one says 16
To do
years.
sports, yeah, to do sports.
What does he do, baseball?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Makes sense, kind of.
340 for 16 years.
That don't make
And
sense.
I asked him, I go, are you still on your rookie deal? And he's like, yeah. And I go, are you getting an extension? He's like, they're talking about it.
Oh, he played it
He was
cool.
re-
He played
It's
it
like,
real
and
cool.
he signed the biggest contract extension.
Wait, it's
the third biggest in the history of the game.
How is it beneficial to someone in the like
If
an
you're
owner?
the owner, I
How
don't
is it-
know.
But how's it beneficial? 14 years. I mean, people get injured. I
Uh-huh.
know baseball a
No,
lot
I know.
less, so it
It's
makes sense. But
not. I mean, not that much less. Like, not. He's gonna get injured probably.
Do they owe him that money?
Mm-hmm.
Not smart.
I don't know why they signed those deals. I truly don't. It's like they're trying to
14-year?
send a message to the league or something.
What if he got canceled?
I mean, if he gets canceled, if he maybe does ayahuasca and falls out of love with the game. There's so many things can go wrong, and we're gonna do ayahuasca.
Neal, are you hinting at something?
Yeah. So good for him. Rest in power, King.
No, but you know what's funny about Rush Limbaugh? That's when Obama got Osama.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one time Rush Limbaugh actually praised him. He said, "Great job, true American for doing that," and his listeners ripped him.
Yeah.
They're like, "What the fuck are you?"
He was the one who routinely would call Chelsea Clinton a dog.
Yeah. So he tried to even praise Obama a little bit.
I don't.
And they were like,
the
nah,
thing that I
what
didn't,
are you
that
doing?
I like underestimated about him was he thought he was funny. He
he
started as like a radio, like he used to do. He would say if he didn't like someone on a phone, a caller, he would go, "I'm aborting this call," and a vacuum sound would play, and you'd hear screaming. Which is funny. It's awful, but it's funny.
It's just funny. These guys,
It's comedy. Whether it's funny or not, it's all of it.
These guys that make so much money off of just pandering to the right people.
Yeah.
Like
he said, "I'm not in this. I'm in it for the money."
Yeah, at least that to me, great. Bill O'Reilly, you're in it for the money. Tucker Carlson, you're in it for the.
I don't. Well, those guys are a different thing.
Why? What do you mean? What's different about?
I believe Bill
books.
O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly's been conservative.
I'm not saying that they are secretly not conservatives. I'm just saying, we have left-leaning principles and like worldviews, but we're not like clowny left-wing people.
Right.
And if we just hammed it up like super hams and we made hundreds of millions of dollars.
There is no way to do that as a liberal.
Yeah, the far left.
I mean,
is
Rachel
a little
Maddow makes very good money.
Well, to be his version, you have to be.
There's more bombast in right-wing politics because it's meaner.
Yeah.
It's all mean, whereas liberal politics are based on the idea of decency and kindness, whereas Republicans are like, we need our own power grid. Come hell or high water. I'll be in Cancun. But an amazing broadcaster and a real piece of garbage. But if you love drugs, no one loved him more than him.
Is he a drug addict?
He had like a horrific Vicodin, like 70 a day or something, like a rapper. He's gonna go
lean.
like
he was on lean.
I mean, he was like an incredible amount of drug addiction, just drugs.
He has his own
he has his
tab
own.
for.
There's its own paragraph in his Wikipedia. 2003, Limbaugh was being investigated for illegally obtaining oxycodone and hydrocodone. But you know what? No one ever points out how great that must have been for him to making $80 million a year high all the time.
You think he was high doing the show?
Of course. You don't go, well, I'm going to take all you. You can't get the shit out of your system. Like, well, that's sacred time when I need to be energetic and performing. No, just fucking gacked and making $50 million a year on a private jet. Just like, book.
How is that possible?
Which part?
Just the fact that you get to be like so fucking high and make so much more money than most people.
The world's unfair.
So unfair.
The world's unfair, but in some ways it's funny unfair. That's funny.
Yeah, it's funny that
it's
like,
so wrong.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like, that's fucking funny. Speaking of which, Carl Hart has been getting flack. He was my buddy, the professor who does heroin.
Yes.
He was like in the New York Post this week. Like they're finally hitting him with like, this black guy does drugs. And the picture in the New York Post is so fucking funny.
Why?
Will you type in New York Post Carl Hart? Thank you. And now hit images. No. Nope. Go back. Yes, the photo. Like, what are you gonna do?
Arms wide open.
Yeah, like what? So what? Yeah, I do heroin for work-life balance, which sounds insane.
He's the shoulder shrug emoji.
Yeah, he's doing the black shoulder shrug emoji. But I knew it was just a matter of time.
You think they're gonna get him?
I don't think they're gonna get him.
He's like really analyzing it. He's going about it in a way.
Of course. No, I know. It's not a problem. But if the cops feel a certain way, it's a very, I don't think it's reckless. I think it's brave. He's doing it for what I believe are like the right moral reasons to go like, I use drugs, I am fine.
Right.
So I would like to get that story into the news. But the way they sell it is like, this black guy does heroin.
Yeah.
So you're relying on white people to tell a black story in the right way, or a story in the right way that doesn't serve their needs. Anyhow, moving on. Did you remember Chris D'Elia?
I do.
Yeah, that was earlier in the summer.
That was heavy in the summer. We were not doing good on all fronts.
June, July. It was George Floyd and D'Elia.
It was like May, June. July,
yes, May,
June.
May, June, July.
May, June, July.
This summer. I think people knew what we meant when we said summer.
Well, I got specific.
He released a video, and he took his dick out in the video. I'm kidding. He released a video the other day, Saturday, and what did you think of it?
I thought that a person in his position doesn't have many moves.
Yeah.
So I thought that was the best move he could make.
Yeah.
How, no one knows really how to deal with this.
Yeah.
Even the PR drops you if it gets too big for them,
Yeah.
And they're supposed to handle this. There's no Olivia Pope out there. So
yeah.
I don't know. What's the right move?
Yeah.
Is it just making a video to address everything and not hiding? I don't know. But it just came out, so I'm not sure.
It's in essence, it's a hostage situation it's a gunman. How should a gunman a Texas gunman this Friday, it's a standoff. It's like a cultural standoff. So as if you're the guy in 2021 and you've been accused of sexual misconduct, what's the right way to do it?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying. So, and I watched it and was like, I don't like seeing him play that note in life. Like the amount of, I've never seen him I've spent a lot of time with him. That's the most serious I've ever seen him. That's 100 times the amount of serious moments in that video than in the 15 years I've known him. Just way more serious, of course. But as a person who, it's like watching a clown take a test or something.
What?
It's just like, I don't want to see a clown take an exam.
You don't want to see anyone do anything outside of what I like them doing.
Yes. This was sad though, because it's like, I don't want to see that guy who is like kind of just silly be someone's the first comment someone wrote, "I'm here for silly goose time," which is just fucking funny. And he didn't get any. It was the opposite of silly goose time. It was serious goose time. But you gotta say it. There's nothing. I was talking to somebody about taking a harder line. It's like Bird did the joke about Tiger Woods being like, yeah, he should have become the bad boy of golf and like had chopped off his sleeves.
But notice how everyone who's ever been in this position, because it's a very rare position to be in. It's almost like, have you ever been a talk show host? Not most people have never been a talk show host. Okay, so most people have never had that perfect storm of some sort of behavioral misconduct and getting canceled and being famous and blah, 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 right? So of those people, no one's ever doubled down. Yeah, everyone on the outside is like, shouldn't have done that. And it's and the amount of people who are like, I'll never apologize. I would never do.
You know who kind of doubled down? Charlie Sheen. And you know what got him? AIDS. No, I mean,
checks and balances.
No, I mean he was one of the only ones who literally went on tour based on a manic episode. Like, not only am I gonna not apologize for it, come see me do it live.
No, for sure.
And I
he's
would
pretty
say that
unscathed. He's in a commercial.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, if you were at 1/10 of your behavior and you're black, you're R.I.P. King.
Yeah.
But because you're Charlie Sheen, he's in a fucking like health commercial with his father.
Yeah. If you're black, you'd be a janitor at a hospital.
So I don't know. We give Charlie Sheen a major pass, even though one could make the argument if exposing people to AIDS is
I mean,
attempted murder. I think.
Yeah. There's nothing good can be said about it. I have nothing good can be said about Charlie Sheen's behavior.
People have been canceled for a lot less than Charlie Sheen, but also I do feel like the first person gets a pass. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I think there's a few things. Charlie Sheen was 10 years ago, and it was a long 10 years in terms of
appropriate
male accountability.
And he was the first one to really
the longest 10 years of my life.
He was the first guy. I just think, I don't know. We give a pass to the first people. He was kind of was he? Am I tripping?
No, he wasn't the first guy to be an asshole. I mean,
no, that's not what I'm saying. The first guy to kind of get attack the mob back, and he kind of won.
Yeah,
because we didn't know what
he had
we
to
cared
leave the
about.
Show.
Yeah, but we didn't know what we cared about then.
We sure didn't. Look at us now.
We were just like, not good behavior.
Yeah,
but it
wasn't.
Illegal.
That wasn't the mob with Charlie Sheen. What he was just being in. This is before AIDS. This is before he was.
This is before AIDS. Winning, I'm winning.
Yeah, winning and Tiger Blood, and it was fucking. He had hooks. The guy, one of the
Everyone
great manic episodes of our time.
It was great.
I don't even know what the backlash would have. I think that maybe the show, the 2.5 Men, was involved. No, but at that point he had the Fox. He had the FX show where it was like group therapy.
It was what? No, what did he? He did something that everyone got obsessed over. Maybe it was he had those girls on the videos, just those two girls, those angels or something.
No, that I don't know.
Remember, that's why.
I mean, I know he paid someone to.
No, there was
just be naked while he smoked crack. Someone I know.
Damn, Neal.
Yeah, I walk on the wild side,
famous.
Dark side of the dark side of Hollywood,
seedy side of Tinseltown. There was like these girls that he kept filming, and everyone. It was the first big star that was behaving. We
got the wrong guy to figure it out for us.
But basically, his behavior was a little shocking for his level. There was drama around the 2.5 Men.
He would pay people to be naked while he smoked crack. I mean, that again, that's to the. I think I know this. I
think we might know this.
I think we do. The level, that's from the Rush Limbaugh files of like, you know what? Awful, but fucking hilarious. Awful, but great if you are inspired. If you're inspired to do that and you can do it, it's so funny.
It's the Britney Spears. We all were laughing. Not one person was.
Correct.
No, you guys, not cool. The AIDS changed things. And I'm not trying to link them. I just think it's funny that he actually did have AIDS while being promiscuous and can still in 2021 land a promo gig.
Yeah,
for
with his old man.
With his old man for a nice health.
Yep.
Like in telehealth company or something.
Sunny. It's sunny. They're on a high hill.
They are. Well, you've seen it.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, Damn,
Have
you're
we talked
very
about the
good
fact
at
that there
this.
is an HIV medicine commercial where
It's
two
only black
guys,
people?
but at the end, two black guys make out, and
Yeah.
no one said a fucking word.
Well, how about it's only gay people or black women? That's
Is that in it? I don't.
the only people in it. There's a white drag lady.
Great.
There's
That
a
checks out.
there's a gay man in a interracial relationship with some sort of ethnic man. I don't know.
Brown man.
Brown man.
Brown man number one.
And then it's just either black gay men or single black females. I cannot.
That's
stand
interesting.
It. I cannot
That's
stand this
a
fucking
funny
commercial.
case of who do we cast?
White
Yeah,
people get AIDS. What? Where was normal
but
white
not
people?
the way that black men. No, I don't. There's a chance that they thought they were being progressive.
Okay, in their
You know what I mean?
defense,
Like,
there is
it's not a huge chance, probably a 30% chance.
in their defense, there is AIDS does get spread throughout the black community in a way. It just gets spread throughout different communities differently. In their defense, fine, because I looked into it, I was very mad. But white people get AIDS.
Of course, I don't know. I'm gonna watch it again.
You're gonna analyze
with this in mind. With
I
a notebook.
spot TV.
Freeze it. Yeah, that's. But the
what's
fact
up
that
with the makeout? Why do you use your hang up with the makeout?
you're too young to remember.
Thank you.
Gay people, when there was a gay kiss on television, it was the #1 story. I remember there was a gay kiss on, I think MTV, one of their gay sex
One
things.
of their gays.
They would just I felt like every weekend in the 90s on MTV, there would be that like song, what's it, like Air or something, like do 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 do
Yeah.
do boo boo doo, that song, and gay people making out. But that was a big fucking deal. The first time there was like a gay kiss on camera was like, oh my heavens.
You're right.
So to just see it on a commercial, I'm like, fucking, this is such
Are you oh my heavens?
I don't give a shit. No, it's a sign of progress. I'm not
Okay.
like actually like, what about the children? I don't give a shit. It's more, I mean, at this point, they're saving 60-year-olds more than they're saving children.
Right.
They're like, oh, like,
right.
it's more upsetting to old people than young people. But the fact that no one mentions it is like a sign of progress.
Well, it's so funny to me, especially growing up. You do sexual education in a weird way in elementary school, at least in my
By
school.
fucking, go ahead. By fucking behind the dumpster.
No, there's a lot of
Best
with the best, Bob with the best, Bob with the best, Bob with the best, How is this on me? Bob with the best, Bob with the best. Like kids at a baseball game, and afterwards there's a pizza party. It's like, why is Timmy not around? He got AIDS through blood transfusion. And then
Right.
we learn about it. It's very like sterile
Yes.
and boring. But one time we learned about this kid who got. It was like a life story of his kids, like a Lifetime movie from the 80s.
Ryan White?
I don't know, but he got it through blood transfusion.
That was like the famous one.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then it was just very ostracizing, and the community was like, "You ain't going to school with my kid."
Oh,
And
yeah, that was a huge thing. Yeah.
It was, so he had to do it through this speaker, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
It was really fucked up, right? But I always think about that when I think of Corona, where I'm like, at what point do you give a fuck? So you don't care about, so we make such a big deal. I mean, people made such a big deal about AIDS, like it's contagious, stay away from these people. Like we really ostracize people when we don't understand something. And if you don't understand a sickness, we go towards like stay away, generally. But
Yeah.
with coronavirus, everyone is like, breathe on me.
Well, if everybody
My freedom.
Well, it's yes, it's what myth am I telling myself? Which is I'm strong and I'm and the AIDS myth was like I ain't no homo.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't like consorting with homos, and I don't want my boy consorting with homos neither.
That's a really good point, because now Corona is like, you're a homo if you wear a mask.
If you wear a mask, yeah, you bareback it. You get in that. You get in that ass. So D'Elia. I mean, obviously, rest in power, King. But he had no choice. It's the script. He did the script. The thing about saying he cheated on his fiance, I thought, was like the most effective part. And because you go, oh yeah, it's not That felt like he actually felt bad about it. The thing where he said, I kind of thought any guy would do this in this situation. And he's like, they wouldn't. Yeah, they would. I'm with him on that. If I were 6'3" and handsome and all that shit, like, he was on his phone a lot. Like he had it bad. But I think a lot of guys.
Was he saying that? Was he like hinting that he is sex addicted?
He said I have a problem. He didn't say sex addiction, but I think
I don't understand sex addiction enough.
The problem was having a sex addiction is the clinical definition of it is that you would rather have sex than do anything else, to the point that it damages the rest of your life, and you get caught. That's the caveat. And you get caught doing it. That's because sex addiction is fine if you can do it. The Sultan of Brunei, no problem, because you can just fly people in and I don't know. I guess he admitted it. I don't fucking know. It wasn't. I'll say it wasn't clinical. I think it will help. I think it will be very helpful.
Yeah.
In a way that maybe Louis could have done one. Maybe
in a weird way. I mean, maybe people disagree.
Louis did a statement. I think I've always felt like Louis should have done a video.
I do think the way, I don't know, maybe it's helpful. I think it's hard to gauge because our vantage point is what do you do in these positions if you want to address it openly and you don't want to hide behind a PR or an agency or, someone or just words on paper. So how do you address it? But what do you say? It's so many.
What I gauge is, if I were going to a Chris D'Elia show, could I invite a woman?
What?
Just think it through. If I were going to a Chris D'Elia show, would I? If I had tickets to see Louis, Aziz, and D'Elia on the same night, and which show would I be most comfortable inviting a woman to?
Aziz, obviously.
Why? Because he's tiny?
No, because his was the one I feel like had the most disagreement on both sides. Wasn't very clear. Was it a bad date? Was he just weird and has no game? Was it a threat? It hurts my head because I think the truest determination of if it was good or not is, did he make someone feel really uncomfortable? Mm-hmm. Well, he did. So I don't know. Is it fruitful to debate whether she's in the right or wrong? I don't know. It just becomes.
Yeah. Well, that begs a whole other question, which is like, I have a couple questions, which is, I don't think any of these guys can actually get the forgiveness of the people that are against them.
No, because it does feel a little bit like something done in the dark. So when something done in the dark comes to light, whether it really was or not, it's hard to, it's
parse
hard
out
to really,
the truth.
Yeah, or it's just hard to move on from that.
Right, but I think the people that are mad at Aziz, Louis, and D'Elia are not mad at them per se. They're mad at the system. They're mad at sexism.
Yeah.
And they're mad at probably the specific guy who did some shit like that to them. And they just put Chris and all those guys with those people. So being able to like take Aziz out and be like, okay, I trust you now, or I trust you now, D'Elia, or I trust Louis now. That's the show thing. I'd be curious to see what most people think. I may do a Twitter quiz. What show
Neal,
would you be most comfortable bringing a woman to?
Is that a necessary question?
No, nothing.
No, I know. But in the world of Neal, is that a necessary question?
I'm curious as to who's got the most successful rehab. That's what I'm.
Who did the bounce back?
Because to me, watching it, I was like, D'Elia's going to be. Something about his, because it was a video by himself and just him extemporaneously talking, was like, that's more effective and not polished the way Louis had to release a statement quickly within like a half an hour, and that would like had some problem, like that women found problematic. Aziz's was in his show. That was like, guys thought it was too apologetic, and women weren't. Nobody was happy. I felt like D'Elia today, 2 days later. I'm like, that to me might be the most effective one.
Is there a way to bounce? Because we're really talking about entertainment, men, something to do with sex, something to do with everybody not
agreeing. It's my wheelhouse. Entertainment, men, something to do with sex. Go ahead.
Some form of misconduct allegations, right? Is there in Hollywood, just because Hollywood is and entertainment industry is very reputation heavy, and not even your actual reputation, what your perceived reputation is and who you are perceived to be. So is there a way to resurrect that? Is it even, there's such a high turn. Like, is it even worth trying? Because you're always going to have.
That's the question
something.
Is, I was talking to somebody about the doubling down thing. It's, if you double down and say, I did nothing wrong, and I completely disagree with these women, I think they're doing it. You can literally go like, I think they're doing it for whatever, attention, any of that shit. You automatically lose women, right? Automatically. Is it in the long term, are you better off? Are you not this tour, but the tour after that? If you're if you get accused of something, if you're like an outlaw, like Chris Brown.
Chris Brown's, I don't know why, it's just different. Not like to me, but just shit gets a different shakedown sometimes. Yeah. What about, though Louis still tours, he releases things. Yeah. Do you think comedians...
He tours in smaller venues, though. And if he'd been an outlaw about it...
You know what he has to do? He just has to make the tickets so expensive. It's like, you better really want to see me.
Well, no, that's not the issue. The issue is, it's who comes to your show. Who's gonna tell people they're going to? It's a bit of a Trump thing where it's
dirty.
It's like
one time somebody, I think it was,
but it's way more emotional. It's way more visceral than like, I have further looked inside myself.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's funny. One time, what's his face? Somebody, who's on stage? Rick Ingraham was trying to out Trump supporters. It's like, who's a Trump supporter here? And I was standing next to a table, and they're like, don't say anything.
Yeah.
And I always remember that.
Yeah.
Because I had the urge to point. Yeah. It is secretive.
Half the people you see are Trump supporters. I mean, not in LA, but like.
They're all tourists at the store. A lot of them are tourists. So let's just, a lot more than will raise their hand, Yeah. But it's the same thing. Who's going to say, oh, I have 2 tickets to.
Like, and that's the thing I'm saying. And then try inviting a girl. When you can get it. Because I think even girls at a point would be like, I like this outlaw. A lot of these girls are full of shit, like then you tap into their misogyny.
Well, example. I invited a friend to he was like, I want to come to the store. I want to bring my friend. I was like, cool. So I saved them a seat. And it was a regular, just the store lineup. So it's a fucking assorted box of chocolates. I mean, this isn't one person's show.
No. And I mean, it's a lot of times it was my show. But at the end of the night, you'd be like, you know what? Although I did a joke the other night that I'm like, defend D'Elia, but as soon as he gets a spot earlier than me, I'm going to be like, let's not forget about what he did.
Is that how you bring him up?
Yeah. And look, I'm bringing this. Yeah.
So he brought him and a girl and a guy, friend of his, and the girl was like, there was somebody on that I won't mention, but someone that's a polarizing figure. She's like, I run a blog. Like, I can't be seen watching this guy's show. Like, it first of all, a million things we're not even gonna address. Like, bitch, no one cares about you. Yeah. But she was just like, nah, I associate way too many things that's against that person. That if someone knew that I went and sat through and even gave this guy a chance, it's not good for my bottom line. So I do think...
But that's a lot of how people watch shit now. Am I allowed to like this? Am I allowed to laugh at this? I can hear it in jokes like, so, like that's the kind of laugh you get sometimes on certain like, because they're like, I think it's funny. You can hear the conflict in people, but that's where you can't even. Everyone's in they are the show. They're at the show. It's like the social mediaification of shit. But if you double down, made yourself an outlaw, like the comic, they don't want you to see all that shit, and then you tap into women who are like, I think a lot of these girls are kind of
right,
and then they come and then they go, we love you, we don't care what anybody says.
Well, it's like you could be like, I fucking hate Kim Kardashian, but if she was in line next, you'd be like, oh my god, hey girl.
Yeah.
Everyone is just I don't know. Everyone is kind of full of shit.
Yeah.
So let's not expose my full of shitness by going to your show.
Yeah. I think I always said it was people could take some of Kanye's political shit. But once he started throwing Jesus, it was like, nah, I can't. This is boring. Malcolm X. Who was he? Malcolm X. He was murdered 55 years ago. Is that the
56.
thing? 56. Why this year is he getting more?
Because an undercover NYPD detective on his deathbed wrote a letter and was like,
that's the way to die. To my earlier point.
Well, who's gonna be in your? Who
am I gonna drop dime on? You'll see.
What's your deathbed confession? I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna be like, let's take this out. We don't need. Neal tries to do a poll.
Undercover wrote a letter in which he admitted he participated in actions that, in hindsight, were deplorable and detrimental to the advancement of my own black people. Oh, so he was basically Lakeith Stanfield in the Black Messiah.
Yeah, so he had to infiltrate civil rights groups in New York, and if he heard they were gonna put a bomb at the Statue of Liberty. Okay, so basically, let's get all of it. It's like a RICO case. It's like, let's get all of the people around him caught up, so they can't protect him. So it was a lot of his security bodyguards and entrusted group of his inner circle. So let's go either coax them into committing a crime that they will then get caught for, or, hey, I know about a crime, foil the plan so they're all caught up so that he doesn't have the actual security he should to allow somebody armed to kill him. So that is just, it's like
it was so it wasn't like it was okay. So it was like a downstream thing.
It's like freezing assets. It's just like, all right, well then let's see how you wiggle out of this one.
Yeah, that's the thing about terrorist groups or any so-called terrorist groups. Is most of the time it's the FBI. We've talked about it before. That with Al Qaeda and ISIS, most of the guys that got busted after 9/11, FBI would join a mosque, an FBI guy, and he would go, "You want to do terrorism?" The guy would be like, "No." Yeah. You sure? Come on, let's do terrorism. The guy would be like, "No." Come on, and then finally the guy would be like, all right, I'll have lunch.
Just make it
just
so
fucking get
easy,
this over with, and then like, you fucking piece of shit. Then they open the van door and it's over. Yeah, you know what I've been thinking based on a bunch of shit, but kind of based on the Adam Curtis documentary, was whenever black people say something was bad, it was worse than that. Do you know what I mean? Like whenever they go, civil rights was really hard. And then you see it and you're like, that's worse than hard. And I don't want to say white, but the white version is war. War is so bad that old white men won't even talk about it.
Right.
Like that's when you know it's bad.
But black people have been in war for hundreds of years.
No, right. Like, but I'm saying, but they don't talk, a lot of black guys don't talk about it either. What I'm saying is, civil rights shit, it's always worse. Like, and the way they infiltrated the Black Panthers and all that other shit.
Right. No, it's even, I mean, it's funny because I heard this before Rock said it, but I know a few friends that are older black men that could only go to a farmhouse vet for their dentistry. You know, that was normal. So to hear it once, it's shocking. But when you realize that was a norm, that wasn't a weird thing to people. And I think we just gloss over it because it's too sad and also sounds made up.
It's
like
too
white
sad.
people.
I think
like
it's
it's
common.
just,
I think
really
it's 60% too sad. And like
that's
what?
so crazy.
What? Even the vet thing they didn't think was real.
No, people don't think that was real.
Yeah.
But even I was talking to somebody who is like contrarian for contrarian's sake, and was sort of kind of defending not Trump, but whatever, something not that I believe in. And I told him, like, my friend just moved into a house in Mid-City, and the covenants, it said nobody can own this property that isn't white. No. I'm like, no, really, there's racist covenants that we ignore.
Yeah.
They don't even take it out. We still have to pass a law to take them out. We just actively agree to ignore it. And it's such a analogy to racism. It's like, no, should we pass a law so that like a lovely black couple doesn't have to see that they probably weren't allowed to be here 50, 100 years ago? Just ignore it. Like, it's fine. Just don't read it. And people don't think that's small. That's not even, that's a very passive form of racism. Like, please don't people act.
Yeah.
Okay, fine here. And people don't believe that's actually a thing. So is it like, is it important to convince white people still? I don't know. We kind of do, but we kind of still try, but not really.
Yeah. It is just because there's so many ways.
So keep trying.
13% black people. I mean, 14, 15%. It's just not enough people to wait it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was watching a Stacey Abrams. That's, you know what made me think of Stacey Abrams. There's a Stacey Abrams documentary on Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
And
is it good?
Yeah, it really is, actually. I'm only like halfway through, but whenever I get a little factoid, it's like fucking after World War II. No, that's not right. Anyway, the amount of, because of the poll taxes and just black people getting fucking murdered voting and all that shit,
Right.
the black registration rate for voting in, I believe, 1960 was 3%.
Effective.
I mean, yeah, they go, I don't even want them to have my name.
Right.
Like, yeah, you're not going to get many black candidates. At one point, it had been 65%.
Wow. That's
And then
so sad.
it was after Reconstruction, I believe it was 65%. And then, or during Reconstruction. And then they, 3%, which is just fucking insane.
Black Southernness in the post-civil rights era.
Deion Sanders. Speaking of, this is a very black show. It's about to get blacker. Roll the windows up, everybody. It's about to get blacker. Deion Sanders is a coach in. He coaches a black college. Coaches Jackson State, right?
Cool.
He's the head coach, and they were doing He was at a game, and shit got stolen out of the locker room. It was it at Jackson State? Yeah, Edward Waters. So Edward Waters is another school. So they're doing a game, and they're performing a game, and during the game, somebody broke into the Jackson State locker room and took Deion Sanders' stuff. It's since been returned. I'd like to think that they were heavily threatened.
I don't get this story. Okay.
Stephen A. Smith basically implied that
this is the yelling guy.
Yeah, it's black people's dirty laundry, and kind of don't show it in front of white people. He didn't say that.
First of all, people steal. What does this have to do with black people?
It's a black college. It's a HBCU, I believe, and Stephen A. Smith was saying by promoting that or even bringing that to light, you're making it harder to recruit students in the future. It's basically just like don't.
I don't know.
He's saying like keep it between us. It's like, dog, he got robbed. Well, that's the black.
Do you think that it would be harder to recruit kids? Like, I don't understand.
I think it's going to be hard anyway, and I think a parent that wants to send their kid to an HBCU, that wants to go to an HBCU, who's good enough to get recruited by multiple colleges, I think it's kind of worth whatever shit goes along with an HBCU. In this case, it's a robbery during a game. It happened at the Philadelphia 76ers. The owner's brother stole from Iverson's. So it happens. It just happens.
I don't think it's...
no, I don't think it's especially
But
black.
why do you think No, of course not. But why is Stephen Avery?
Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, Stephen
Avery is the drummer from Jane's Addiction. But close.
Sorry. Why is Stephen making... It almost feels worse to connect the dots in that direction than... If we just let it be
weird,
like,
he has a lot of weird angles. That's a weird angle. That's a very weird angle. I mean, there is something to airing dirty laundry. I believe, I don't know what the line is, but there are times where, it's like,
did we need to make a big deal about this? But sorry, thief is thief. Thief.
Yeah. It's not like that's
an
accepted thing. Like, well, we steal here. It's still a crime. It's not like, well, it's legal. It's during the game, it's legal.
Right.
Yeah, like it's here, Stephen A. Smith's quote is, "The reason I would have handled it differently is because the actions of a few, a criminal act, the unfortunate actions, the embarrassing actions, should not be a reflection on Jackson State. That is how it may be inhaled and grasped and interpreted by those on the outside, white people."
Yeah, of course.
HBCUs have incredible challenges that I've highlighted on many, many occasions. You see how Stephen A. Smith, he just repeats the same shit over and over again. In terms of notoriety, cachet, interest, here come the synonyms. In terms of notoriety, cachet, interest, support, financial, and otherwise, it is a challenge for historically black colleges and universities to receive those things. This does not help.
I don't know.
Your
At what
problem's
point
with
do
the
we
thieves, buddy. It's not with the guy talking about getting robbed.
It's a college. Someone went into a fucking locker room and took some shit. That's happened 1 million times.
Not at Harvard.
Right. But I'm just saying, I don't know. I feel like almost the worst offender is Stephen Avery Smith. We don't know what the A stands for. To connect those dots. Or just, I don't know, why are we... No, don't look, whites.
Yeah,
you don't see anything here. No,
it's an old mentality.
Oh, it's Anthony.
Yeah,
he'll always be Avery to me.
It might be an old black person mentality. Like over a certain age, you're like,
I get it, but I don't know how many people are. I don't know. I guess
it's also thinking that.
I don't agree.
That
Steven.
white people are, and will white people use it as ammunition for racism? Yeah, probably. But you can't. Anyone who's looking for ammunition, they'll just fucking MacGyver some shit together.
Yeah.
Into a weapon to use against. So you know what, thieves of Jackson State, do what you do, Playboy.
No.
Keep stealing, Playboy.
No.
That's what I took from it. That's what I took from it. And that is what stealing is to me. Oh, Meek Mill.
Did you see what he wrote? What he said?
Yeah. Now,
in poor taste, Meek Mill. In poor taste.
Now here's the funny thing. I don't even think it's a story of Tyler, the creator, says it.
How? What?
He's not like a troll. If Eminem is not
Eminem. I know who he is, but what does he have?
He would do lyrics like he would do like trolling lyrics.
Okay.
It's like Meek's not really a troller.
No.
And that's more than anything. What this is like? What do you like? You're not like a fucking troll person. Why are you? And you probably knew Kobe. It's not a. We're talking technically. There are rhymes to be made about Kobe. I just wouldn't involve a helicopter. Just if you're out there, young rappers, don't involve a helicopter. But you know, eventually, magic and AIDS became a thing to rap. Like it all gets there. Just give it time.
Ratting rhymes.
Just give it time, my son.
Yeah. It just seems like you probably knew that when you were writing, you probably knew, ooh, someone might not like that, you know?
Yes.
You know.
Of course. There are jokes that, you know, are on the line that I can't believe they work.
Give us some. And so this is, what is it? Yeah, and if I ever lack, I'm going out with my chopper, it'll be another Kobe Bryant. Kobe, sorry. So if he's saying, yeah, and if I ever lack, I'm going out with my chopper, it'll be another Kobe. So I don't know.
People are gonna die. I mean, I don't. It's all pretty clear. Everybody was. It's not. It's fine. They got to write a lot of rhymes. These guys.
Ratting rhymes.
Well, also, there's so many fucked up rhymes.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's the sanctimony around. Like what? Go back to loosely raping women. What happened to that? Those are the lyrics I wanted. Those are the kinds of lyrics I can get behind. Loosely raping women. It ain't no fun if the homies can't have none.
Or B.I.G. bring that ass to me.
I mean,
come on.
That was a whole other issue.
I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't have done
Bianca
that.
needed to see the rhymes up close.
Sorry.
She needed to inspect the rhyme. The rhyme inspector
I took our monitor.
And she fucked the monitor up because she needed to read. And we also get to see the fact that Bianca needs glasses and will not admit it. She does the old lady thing where she holds it up. You know, that's hip hop for you, gang. Sometimes you're gonna get some errant rhymes.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. But do you think
the Meek Mill? I've always considered the Black Ari Shaffir, so it only makes sense that he finally came for Kobe.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Okay. I also think he has Meek Mill has a lot of like side deals now that are barely music related. Like he's like a Puma. He had the weirdest come up after jail. It was like Jay-Z just organized all the shit for him.
Yeah, he feels like Jay-Z-ish. Things he's.
It's the same management company and it's all that shit. He's never gonna get to Jay level, but for some reason he got a ton of goodwill, even though he was imprisoned incorrectly or unfairly, whatever, illegally. It's not based on music. Well, I mean, it was legal.
It was just stupid.
Specious legal theories.
Right. Oh, wagging his finger.
My queen, Serena, lost.
Queen
Serena, lost in Australia. And people think she's going to retire or something. She's ranked 10. She ain't retiring.
She did they analyzed the way she put her hand, the goodbye. They analyzed
I don't think she's gonna retire. She's much more profitable playing, even if she's not winning.
Oh yeah, I feel like she's like, I'm gonna go out on top.
Or
Summer
she's
George.
like, it's gonna take. She can suck for 3 years, the tennis, like that she can play for 3 more years, and the tennis is such a poorly understood thing that most people won't even know she sucks for a while. Like it'll just take a while before people go like, oh, like I didn't know. By the way, like no tennis players' careers have lasted this long at this level. Like Martina Navratilova.
What about the Federer?
I guess so. I remember saying to Serena, like, you weren't supposed to be good this long, right? She's been good for 20 years. Like, that's fucking hard to do.
I remember their Got Milk commercial, their Got Milk ads. Like,
that's back when people used to drink cow's milk. That's how long that was. She's not retiring.
I hope she doesn't.
She's not. She just won't. Like, there's no way.
But I started after. They're just so obsessed with her, like the way she's shown in the media, and like it's tennis, but she supersedes tennis in a way. I started looking back at it, and they're so unfair to Serena Williams. She gets such an unfair shakedown. It goes past. It's like Britney Spears level. It's like that Britney Spears doc. I remember I read something that when she was pregnant, they made a case that her metabolism.
Oh, right.
It's
she
unfair.
had some testosterone in her blood from having a baby. It's just some
She's
bullshit.
pregnant.
Yeah.
And because she's doing so good, they're like, well, she's pregnant, so her metabolism and testosterone.
It's actually doubles. She's playing. There's 2 of her.
And I'm like, generally we give pregnant people, like, it's considered harder to be pregnant to do things. But somehow with Serena Williams, it's like...
There's a combination with Serena where she's a bit of an outlaw. She doesn't fuck with it's like they don't fuck with each other.
Yeah.
But they write all the articles. So it seems
no one talks about how unfair of a shakedown she gets.
Yeah. She yelled at a judge, 2 years ago and said they were a thief and all that stuff.
But McEnroe, it's like, he's wild.
Yeah, it's just, what stories do white people want to tell themselves? One of the stories they love telling themselves, and I know because I tell it to myself every night as I go to sleep, is we're not racist.
Right.
Not real. What? I call them like I see them. What's that? A dominant black woman? What? I wouldn't make comments about her body that I wouldn't make about white women. It's like you can't. It's just racist, but it's so embarrassing that they just have to go like, what? Right. It's all this other like this. It's a
the idea of you falling asleep and telling yourself,
a giant book. I'm not a giant book called White Myths.
I'm not racist.
White.
I'm a good bed boy.
I'm a good bed boy. I'm not. What? I don't benefit from this system, except absolutely.
Hello.
Anyhow, brings us to Doc Watch.
I only date women who have their own taxes.
That's so funny that you said that.
Extremely well.
No, I didn't say it. Another guy said it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't
a
you?
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw Allen versus Farrow.
I haven't watched it. I want to watch it. I was like, this is kind of funny.
What were you doing? Was this 12 to 5?
This is what I was doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like talking about masturbation.
Come on.
But last night it was around closing day. I knew I had to read my White Myths to myself and
running out of time.
And so I was either gonna watch the Woody Allen documentary or masturbate. And I was like, if I watch it, I can't I'm not gonna be able to masturbate.
Why can't you?
You don't want to watch about child molestation.
Okay.
And then segue in a light segue. I think that brings us to. Because you can't do Asian. There's so many categories that are off limits.
Do you masturbate in the bed?
I don't need to get into any of this.
I knew you wouldn't tell me.
I think you're a rude person.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can't. It ruins it for the.
Right.
You're
no, that
like
makes
you
good,
have to become like a moral
you're a good
outrage.
Guy.
Yeah. So I just kept it hidden.
It's so dense. And they really fine-tooth comb. Because as a kid, you always heard, Woody Allen married his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But no one seemed to make a big deal about it eventually. At least when I was conscious about it.
I having never been into younger women, even when I was young, I was always like, when I was like 18, I was like trying to fuck late 20s women. I need a certain amount of sag, you know what I mean?
That's changed.
A little hanging. Now I flipped it. Did I tell you? I flipped it. No, but so I've just never been into younger women. So, but apparently in the 70s, it was like a thing. And like Led Zeppelin would fuck 13-year-olds and they were fine with it and their parents were fine with it.
That one song,
Most songs,
just 16 years old.
There's a shitload of those songs.
Leave her alone. I'm like,
it's not leave her alone.
They say, yes, it is. She's just 16 years old. Leave her alone, they say.
But
creepy.
Right. They say. It's an outlaw song. It's like they don't understand our love. Jerry Lee Lewis married his
They
cousin.
play that song at
underage.
weddings.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are a ton.
Who is it?
Into the Night by Benny Mardones.
They played a lot.
Give us some underage lyrics. Just type it in, Will.
Underage sex lyrics? I don't know.
18 creepy songs about younger women that you've been singing along to without realizing it. Itsy Bitsy Titsy Girl, I kind of had a feeling.
Okay.
Christine 16 was a Kiss
My
song. My
Sharona.
Sharona. How dare
What?
you? Oh, never gonna give it up. Never.
Okay. And
I
then-
always get it up for the younger kind. For the
Wow.
touch of the younger kind. Hey. Good morning, little schoolgirl. Girl, you'll be a woman soon. Yeah, we didn't mind it. No one. I don't remember people picketing Pulp Fiction. Stray Cat Blues by the Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones have like a black lady song. Brown Sugar's about fucking black women.
They put it in the title, Young Girl.
Yeah. Ides of March by Vehicle. I mean, yeah, it's Don't Stand
Don't
Too Close
Say-
to
wait,
Me is
how?
about- that's about him, young teacher, the subject of schoolgirl fantasies. It's like this girl's half his age.
Oh.
Clack clack.
Brown
Sting,
sugar.
Sting, my ayahuasca brother.
Just brown sugar, just like a young girl should.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
so
this
like
young
this
girl,
is
I don't
again.
know.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying it as
It's
like
a thing. Yeah.
that used to be like a thing, like a status thing. There was a woman today in the paper who said that Woody Allen, I guess, fucked her when she was 16 and he was 38, 40. That's again, they're almost two different things to me.
But the difference is that you realize that he was very, children averse. Like didn't want him, keep him away from me.
Ronan, whose party I took you to,
Right.
his birth name was Satchel.
Yeah,
As
I
you
know.
saw in the
only
documentary. Yeah.
Which is that was weird. I was like,
Now,
Satchel.
if you want a
Going on?
counter argument to all this, because my problem with the Woody Allen stuff is whatever I read or see, I believe. Whatever the last thing I read or believed, I believe. So Moses Farrow wrote a blog 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that you'll read it and go, I believe this.
And it's not
exonerates Woody Allen. Mia Farrow's a crazy person.
But you know what's funny, and you see in the documentary, and so it's 4 parts. They only have 1 part out. Is that he took a liking to Moses, and Moses was the only one of her kids that didn't have a dad, and he was so like drawn to him. And from what I can see, from what I know in the first part, is that Woody Allen really did a divide and conquer. Like he was obsessed over Moses. And then when Mia Farrow said something like, I'd like to be pregnant again, I'd like to have my own kids, he was not really into it. But he said, well, if you adopt, he's like, I'm more partial to it if you adopt a blonde kid that looked a little bit more like us, then I'd be more into it. So then she adopted Dylan. And so Dylan and Moses, he was really obsessed with Moses until Dylan came around. And the way everyone describes how obsessed, and she would say, I was like his kid. And he would tell me, oh, mommy doesn't want you around. Mommy is too busy for you.
Dylan's the red-haired woman now.
Right.
Okay.
Mom, and she said she felt like I was his and I had to be with him. And when he came in the room, her demeanor would change. So I do wonder if that's true. And that seems to be actually pretty true with so many people's accounts of the situation, including Dylan. I do wonder who's more impartial to what. It also seems like he wasn't a big fan of Ronan. So I'm like...
Well, the Ronan thing, I remember reading that at some point he just said, like, me and this kid don't get along.
Yeah. Like it seemed like...
Did they mention the Frank Sinatra element?
That hasn't come up.
Do you know what that is?
Absolutely not. What's going on?
Well, look up... Just Google Ronan Farrow, Frank Sinatra.
Or Will?
Maybe he's Frank Sinatra's kid and not Woody Allen's kid.
Well, they were trying to have a kid and it wasn't working.
That's what, like, this is a Rashomon thing at this point where everyone's saying something different and it's like.
He kind of looks more like Frank Sinatra.
Shut up.
He He's so handsome. Like,
Ronan's the best looking.
why don't they just do a DNA test?
I don't know.
I mean, he looks
all I'm
like
saying is
Frank Sinatra.
Because
Oh my
I know
God.
Ronan. I know Ronan.
Oh my God.
I know. I've taken you to his home.
Oh my God. His mugshot and Ronan look the exact.
No, Ronan looks so much like Mia Farrow.
Not when you put this up.
No, I mean they side by side. They're like identical. Like that's hey Ronan, is that you? And meanwhile it's Mia Farrow.
She's all up in the dock, which I like.
Yeah.
It's very like
there's just
horse's
a lot-
mouth.
I know. Yes.
But I like.
But it's not all of the horses. Is
Well,
the problem.
no, in the documentary's defense,
I
Woody
haven't
Allen,
seen it, FYI.
I'm
there's
no way
watch
to spoil it.
I just had to masturbate.
Priorities.
Yeah.
So there's no way to spoil it. It's so dense. But in the documentary's defense, Woody Allen, I guess in 2020 recorded tapes and put them out called like.
He wrote a book.
He wrote a book.
Nothing.
Yeah. So it's on. He also recorded it on tape. So they have that. I'm assuming he didn't agree to the documentary, but they have that as a counter to a lot of the things they say. And he says, like, I was like, took a strong liking to Moses of all the kids. So he was like the closest with him at first, when he started hanging around and he thought, oh, I don't want anything to do with the kids. They live separately. But then he found himself filling the role and actually being there for them and blah, blah, blah. And like, so it's not that his voice isn't heard, but.
No, I don't. I mean, he released a statement today calling and said it was a hatchet job. Like,
I'm sure, yeah.
I just think it's like, I don't think we'll ever know. That's how I feel about it.
I don't know. Watch the first part.
Let me just read you a section. Go back to Moses thing. The fatal dysfunction within my childhood home had nothing to do with Woody. It began long before he entered the picture and came straight from a deep and persistent darkness within the Farrow family. It was common knowledge in Hollywood that my grandfather, the director John Farrow, was a notorious drinker and a serial philanderer. There were numerous alcohol-fueled arguments between her parents, and Mia told me that she was the victim of attempted molestation within her own family. Her brother, my Uncle John, who visited us many times when we were young, is currently in prison on a conviction of multiple child molestation charges. So that's Mia Farrow's brother. My mother has never publicly commented on this or expressed concern about his victims. My Uncle Patrick and his family would often come by, and those visits could end abruptly as Mia and Patrick would often end up arguing. Patrick would commit suicide in 2009. My mother, of course, had her own darkness. She married a 50-year-old Frank Sinatra when she was only 21. Frank Sinatra wrote a song about her called She's So Young. I'm kidding. What is this young piece of tail? After they divorced, she moved in to live with her close friend Dory Piven and her husband Andre. When my mother became pregnant by Andre, the Previns' marriage broke up, leading to Dory's institutionalization. It's never spoken of in our home, of course, and not even known to me until a few years ago. But as I look at it as a licensed therapist and as an eyewitness, it's easy to see the seeds of dysfunction that would flourish within our home. There's more shit about her locking them in closets and just like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Woody Allen's a fucking psycho. Make no mistake. I just don't think it can be known.
The only thing for me is like, let's just assume there was just massive dysfunction everywhere.
Yeah.
And you can't pinpoint it. They weren't this like blissful family. And also reading that, it does gloss. I mean, I don't know. We haven't seen all 4 parts, but right now it looks like a lovely, picturesque family.
An idyllic family ruined by Woody Allen.
Right. But the problem is that so Soo-Yin gets this. The ending is literally the end of part 1 is like they discover the photos, and she addresses it with the family and is like, Daddy took naked pictures of Soo-Yin, and Dylan's like, oh, I'm not the only one. That's the end. So it's like, there's dysfunction everywhere.
Yeah,
and like it does seem tumultuous, and it does seem like adoption, babies, whatever. Also, why would you? There was so much of her knowing Woody Allen had inappropriate behavior, people calling it out in her building, saying, there's some shit going on with him, and then taking him to therapist. Mm-hmm. Hey, you need to work. So you know that there's something going on. So they're already like, I'm with her until he's doing inappropriate touching and you take him to a therapist to work through it, as opposed to get the fuck away from my children.
You're about to lose your job.
You're about to lose your job. So it's like, okay, well, I would never entertain a relationship where my boyfriend and my adopted daughter, that he said I'd be more fond of and treat her like my own if she looked like she was white and not a bunch of Asian kids. And you're in a bed in their underwear and everyone is like, the little girl's grabbing at his penis in public, like, and you want to work through that. So something has to be up with you. Do you know what I mean?
With Mia.
With Mia.
Yeah.
Who works,
I mean,
like,
I don't, that's the thing is, I don't, the next one, it was important to my mother to project to the world a picture of happy blended household of both biological and adopted children, but this was far from the truth. I'm sure my mother had good intentions in adopting children with disabilities from the direst of circumstances, but the reality inside our walls was very different. It pains me to recall instances in which I witnessed siblings, some blind or physically disabled, dragged down a flight of stairs to be thrown into a bedroom or a closet, then having the door locked from the outside. She even shut my brother, Thaddeus, paraplegic from polio, in an outdoor shed overnight as punishment for a minor transgression.
Yeah.
So this is another one of the kids another horse.
That's the you know, 100%.
And that's why I will
Neal's
let
trying to
that
make it
horse
back.
bray. It's never left. Thank you. That's my guy.
Let that
now
horse
we're in the
bray.
paddock. So, you know.
What I'm saying is that I don't believe, just from that, because they don't talk a lot about it. And who knows, maybe it's like, you know, who knows what the strategy is to tell the story. The first part is, picture us, and then we go into what the kid.
The reviews have been like, this is damning conclusive evidence against Woody Allen.
It is,
and that's
but
I just wish they would link to this.
The thing is, this doesn't exonerate Woody Allen. Because, I mean...
No,
you know
I
what
agree.
I
think, like I said, I think Woody Allen's a fucking psycho. I think he's an amazing comedian, joke writer, and one of the greatest filmmakers ever.
It sucks, too, because they go through all his movies, like... And I'm just like, fuck, I love that one.
Oh, that's a banger.
I love that one, too.
Oh.
But what it shows is that there was a grounds for toxicity that the wrong person was allowed to flourish in. I mean, it's... gross. And enough outside people, like some world-renowned psychologist, lives in
according to the documentary. Yeah.
No, I like looked it up. She's like written about. She's just lived in this rich people building in New York, so it's not like wild. And then she rang her and was like, "I saw Woody." Like she on her own was like, "I saw him greet your daughter. Something's wrong there. The intensity he greeted her with." Like a fucking peeping Tom
of Sun Yi or
nothing about Sun Yi except the photos. You don't hear her talk really about. Hear both of them talk about Sun Yi. This therapist just saw him in the lobby greet Dylan, and she was so concerned. She was like, "That was fucking weird."
Yeah.
So there's enough evidence on both sides that like,
look, the more my genius peers fall off, the better I look.
They're not your peers.
Look, Woody Allen is my filmmaking peer. I would put Half Baked in the Goods up against Annie Hall and Manhattan any day of the week and lose in a blowout. There's a documentary on HBO Max Plus.
Purple. HBO
Purple Drink HBO. Somonex. Same kind of Pantone. Called it's basically just black art.
I saw that. It's dope.
It's great. It's just a very roll call.
Love it.
Of like Kerry James Marshall and Kara Walker.
Henry Taylor. No.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
Maybe. Is he alive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in LA. He's one of my favorite artists.
But Henry Taylor is his name?
Yeah, Henry Taylor. They're just
that
great.
Looks like Kerry James Marshall. I mean, but it's funny the person who Kerry James Marshall kind of bit his style from a professor. There's a couple things in it that are just great. Okay. One of the professors who taught Kerry James Marshall said they would do an exercise where they would do a collage, right? And it was this, I guess they would cut out the different pieces ahead of time. And you had to make a collage with the same pieces 4 different ways in subsequent weeks. Which just hearing that is like, fuck, that's such a good way to approach anything. Like you have to do it take 4 different approaches. So you didn't get to like this is my baby. That one, it's you just like
right.
Maybe like let's try it that way.
Right.
And also that Kerry James Marshall kind of bit his kind of style from The Teacher. And Rock told me a fucking hilarious Eddie Murphy thing that if you said something funny around Eddie in the 80s that he could use in his act, he'd be like, you better turn that over to proper authorities. Which is so fucking funny. So funny. I don't think he actually would take it. It was just kind of shitting on people. But watch Blackheart. It's great. Well, let's do some emails, huh, honey?
It's time to check that email.
Hey, Nene and BB. LSTNER. Ding! That's nice.
Ooh.
Neal.
She's with it.
Every time you say the former CEO of Amazon's name, you pronounce it Bezos. When every other time I've heard it, it's pronounced Bezos.
Yeah. Same.
Do you know something we don't know? Is this winner's circle intel? Or do you just say it weird? Please tell me. I'm on the edge of my seat. It's been bugging me for months. Thanks.
The truth is I don't know how to pronounce it. But the other truth is I do have a winner circle connection to Jeff Bezos. That's all. That I don't know. But I don't know how to say it.
What is it? What's his name? MAB? MBA?
No, it's somebody you wouldn't think.
Interesting.
Vacations with him sometimes.
Interesting.
Winner
is
circle,
he fun?
It's a small circle.
Jeff Bezos? Is he stiff?
I just think those guys, this is what I said about conspiracy theories. It's like, those guys are just busy.
Yeah.
They're not evil. They're just intense. They just want to do this thing.
Right.
Their thing is like, he wanted to like make a store that had everything in it. It's not like an evil thing. He just fucking thought he could underwrite bookstores. And then he was like, well, maybe we could do it with everything. It's like not like, and now I don't think he's a good guy, but Mackenzie sure as hell is.
Yeah. She's a girl.
She's a good guy.
She's
a good guy. All right. Good one. Thank you.
Goodbye. You've got mail.
Hey, Neal and Bianca. Longtime feeler here. I have a quick question. I was recently married, and me and my wife both owned a home before we got married, so now we have 2 properties to our names. Her house was a little bit nicer, so we decided that we would rent out my house until we decide what we're going to do with it. We hired a property manager to look after the property for us. And recently the property manager called me and was giving me an update on the property, and he kept calling me buddy on the phone. I didn't think anything of it, but my wife overheard this and said that he was being really disrespectful. She said that he should call me Mr. Reynolds and not refer to me as buddy. This guy is a 40-something American of European ancestry. I'm a late 30-something American of African ancestry. And I didn't know if he was being disrespectful or maybe this was normal. I wanted to see how you guys felt about it. How Neal feel and what Binky thinking. Should I check this guy and tell him not to call me buddy and instead call me Mr. Reynolds? Or should I just let it go because he probably wasn't being disrespectful?
Well, let's
It's
assume.
a toughie.
Let's assume he knows he's black.
Yeah.
How good do you need to be? How clicked in do you need to be with your property manager? If it's like a hierarchy thing, you know, you can lay down the law, but if you kind of need him to have your back, do you put the guy in his place that you put in position to watch your whole property? I don't know. What if you all of a sudden get...
if anyone who's watched my commercials, sometimes white people call black people buddy, and they don't mean anything by it.
Oh my God,
So,
Neal.
This guy is a plant. He works for Kevin Hart.
Buddy.
I think it's tone. I don't know. It's a total tone issue to me. Maybe say, I'm not sure, but I don't know. It just seems.
Or couldn't you be like, you know what? Call me John, or call me.
Yeah,
Mr.
it also could be one of those things where the wife is being sensitive in a way that maybe the wife's white and she's I need more information.
The thing is, you can't be like, you know what? Call me blank, and if it's something more proper, it's way more awkward.
Call me Mr. Tip. I mean, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what.
Call me King.
Yeah, call me Mr. Anderson, whatever the fuck his name
Reynolds.
is. Reynolds. Yeah.
Mr. Tips.
I think you leave it. I would leave it.
I would leave
and
it.
if he presses, if it gets more collegial from there, if he calls you my guy, then you go, hey.
That's Neal's line. He hates my guy.
Hey.
Neal hates
No
my
more.
guy.
My guy is the line.
You hate
Don't
my
call
guy.
me my guy. It's never
my guy.
It's never meant well. From white
My
white
guy.
black or black white. In either direction, nobody means well.
Hey, about man.
My guy is the true buddy. Buddy can mean something good. My guy has never. It might have meant something good for like a week, and it was instantly bad. It was instantly like, all right, you fucking crazy person over there. But I mean, I guess it's like, oh, my guy works at whatever. But if you go, hey, my guy, it's never good, and I don't like it, and I will. And I've built a podcast around being against it.
Goodbye. You've got
You
mail.
want me to read this one?
Bianca's got
Let's
an
do it.
apology to make.
Hi, Neal and Bianca. I'm listening to the podcast now. To clarify, the girl on The Bachelor did not wear blackface. Okay, it was a sorority party where they dressed up like Gone with the Wind on a plantation. Yes, I understand, not a great look, but definitely not blackface. Thanks. The police. Police officer Leslie.
So we clarified. Do you want to apologize?
Oh yeah, my bad. I didn't actually know. I think we talked about it before. I know
It's the fog of cancellation at this point.
We
You don't
round- I-
remember. I think it was blackface, or I don't remember.
I rounded up to blackface.
He wasn't against somebody. It
And
just
I'm
I
sorry.
don't know. He did something wrong,
I'm sorry.
and no one benefits, but she's in trouble.
Okay, so sorority party where they dress like Gone with the Wind plantation. Go. Do you think that's how bad? How bad are we talking?
I think that's bad. Now, I have thought about. Remember, like a month ago when I said that there's something about being in a foreign country, being in like Thailand and like.
Oh yeah, yes.
There's
I
something
remember.
that's colonial. I'm making
you were-
colonialism sexy, cool.
You like
something.
it. You like that. The Orient.
I'll admit
the
it.
Orientals.
I'll admit it. Yes, that was me acknowledging some level of enjoying the spoils of colonialism. Now, but whenever I've been anywhere that's the thing about the South that creeps me out. Is like you can feel the shit. You can feel
just
like
thick.
I don't know. Like even if you hadn't. I feel like if I was poisoned and woke up in a field in the South, I would know that I was in the South more than if I was somewhere else.
Yeah, loud
Even if I
like
hadn't met anyone.
loud cricket noise.
Cicadas and weeping willow. I mean,
Yeah,
again,
everything's
beyond that,
wet.
I would think, the more obviously the humidity, but I don't know. There's something about it that's.
Listen, plantations are spooky. I don't understand. And look, they're obviously gorgeous. They were meant to be gorgeous, big houses with these huge fields.
Well,
but
they deserve them. Go ahead.
Okay, but I feel like the South is
Haunted.
the white Southerners are really over it. They're like, it's fine. People died here
Yeah.
and were oppressed and
Yeah.
had terrible lives, and other kids ripped from them and were raped and murdered. but it's like it's beautiful.
You know what they could use is some Catholic guilt and shame.
For real, and there are a lot.
It's a weird thing where it skipped them, but it
skip them, but they're really religious.
Shame like went to Philly and Boston for some reason. Like, okay, we'll take it, but like we're like the least. But I don't know why you didn't go for them. Why the fucking all we did was come here. They fucking so like, well, we'll get yourself a julep.
The South still got something to say.
Goodbye. Hello,
You got mail.
LSTNER. This is somewhat of a response to a letter advising Neal to start dating more black women. First, I think it's important to consider if black women are really out here actively looking to date guys like Neal, let alone Neal himself. I get it. I hate it, and I get it. For the black women who are out here pining for Neal's love and affection, they might have to come to terms with the fact that he might not just be all that into them. I'm a listener from the Champs era, and Neal has mentioned his lady preferences many times over the years. Black women are very rarely placed on that list, and all caps, that is okay. As a black lady myself, I once upon a time became very distraught after Louis C.K. boldly proclaimed that he did not find black women attractive. Then we all found out that this motherfucker was jerking off in front of bitches without their consent, and I took solace in the fact that because of his personal preferences, a few potentially susceptible black women may have been spared. This is not to say that Neal's performing any sort of sexual misconduct out here in the streets. I just think that people's sexual preferences should be left at just that, free from any further scrutiny, particularly because you never know what's happening behind closed doors. You sure don't. Love the show. You guys really don't have to take this shit. It's kind of the nicest thing you said to us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. This is a side note and a. Did you see the Megan Thee Stallion cover of a lore? My ex, the mixed ex, was the editor. So
that's the thing. You've dated black women.
Of course. I don't know what she's talking about. Like one of my longest relationships. But
Letterhead.
Yeah, Letterhead. For fuck's sake. For fuck's sake, what do you want? You got a black woman letterhead.
I didn't like the.
That's it.
It's like, why is it so overly sexual? I understand it.
Do you think it's sexual? I thought it was like more like not sexual.
Well, it wasn't sexual, but it seems like you took the first idea in the brainstorming.
But I think the way they just didn't make it like.
It's unremarkable.
It's like her at home.
Yeah, unremarkable.
It looks like a Dove ad or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when the ladies
like
with the regular
just unadorned. Bodies. I think that was the premise.
I know, but
what do women think of? That's what I wonder. Is like, as a guy, honestly, there's a world in which this is sexier than,
for sure,
full makeup.
I think for men. Every guy always says, no guy is like, I want you to have a full face of makeup, please. They may be attracted to women like that, but they always want natural.
It just fucking gets on everything. Gets on your sheets and fucking, it just gets everywhere.
It's funny, really?
If you fuck hard, yeah.
Damn, Neal fucks hard. Okay.
I fuck the foundation off of it. You know me.
I learned a lot through these bitches. So... Yes, but this is high fashion shit. So it's not about guys at all. You don't count here.
Right. I guess the question is.
This is compared to what Harper's can do, what happened with
it's not a lore, it's Harper's Bazaar.
You know, but then
Kamala Harris, I think it was Vanity Fair maybe.
Maybe it's Vanity Fair. It's so like, yeah, great. You know, first idea in the think tank.
Well, I think with Kamala they had more than
That's whack. That's whack. I could take that photo.
I mean, that's our old backdrop from the show.
She and HowNealFeel
I'm glad to see that our where are they now? The backdrop has gone on
Where Are They Now? It's such a good song.
On the cover of Vogue. It's on the cover. The old backdrop from the show is now on the cover of Vogue. Congratulations. Rest in power, King.
Yo, people hated our
Kamala
backdrop.
Harris Vogue. Do you think it's a black woman thing or you think it's a style thing? I think it's maybe a trend thing.
I don't think it started out as she's black, so let's go with our plan C's and D's. But I do wonder if there's a subconscious, I don't know,
Michelle had a lot of
percolation
good
going on.
covers.
But that's Michelle.
I mean, if we're talking about race, she's as black as
No,
she's
I don't-
black
I
as
don't-
black as anybody.
Something tickled me. No, I don't think it's black, bad cover, white, good. Of course, there are good and bad covers with everybody. I just think people were saying there's a bit of an absent-mindedness to like highlight her and get creative and do something spectacular.
I mean,
I don't know.
knowing Samira, like she's incredibly thoughtful and proud of
But
race. and all
Samira's
that
not the
stuff.
one who decides the photo.
She's the editor of Harper's Bazaar and styled that shoot.
God.
Yeah.
Get
So
me
now
caught
you're
up.
fucking with
Why'd
me.
you tell me this? You tricked
I'm
me.
betting she
You
doesn't.
tricked me.
She's one of the few exes who did not like my tweet about it being their fault.
Oh, really?
A lot of people like a lot of it was a roll call for exes, and she.
Well,
did
maybe
not.
that one.
I don't think
wasn't
she
her
follows
fault.
me.
Maybe that one wasn't her fault.
It was.
She didn't pick up her
no, that wasn't
letterhead,
her fault.
so.
No, it absolutely wasn't her fault. I mean, obviously, the joke is it's not any of their fault.
Yeah, no, of course.
It's I'm Woody Allen, and they're my
Don't
daughters.
say
and it's
that.
unknowable who did what to whom.
Do not
This
say
is
that.
just for my own.
Goodbye. You've got mail.
Hey, bud. So I had some good things happening to me recently, and I've begun thinking about legacy. Everyone wants a well-attended funeral, myself included. So what should I make a priority when attaching my name to a thing?
You hate legacy.
I
number one.
don't care about legacy. I've been clear about this from day one.
Yes.
I think it is hogwash. And I think once you're gone, once it's over, it's over. And this is the Spirit Padre saying that.
You don't believe in reincarnation?
No, but even if I did, I wouldn't be like, that's my former. I built that gymnasium. Like, it's fucking dumb. It's just a dumb. I'm all for giving, but this thing of I shall, and from here on out, people shall know the Neal Brennan name that he stood for. It's the joke I've been doing about Confederate statues. I wasn't drawing strength from them.
There's a famous story about there's like a statue somewhere in England, and it's been so long no one actually knows
Why.
Knows why.
It's so fucking funny. I mean, it's an allegory for all of it.
It's hilarious. Or there's a rock in a church that's been enclosed in like in a display case.
Yeah.
And no one knows why.
It's a big rock.
They're
It's
like-
just a dope rock. It's the dopest rock.
The dopest.
He won Rock of the Century in 1400.
Rock of the
I
century.
don't care about legacy. Do what you like for your life.
Question: if you had kids, legacy helps other people when you're gone.
Not in a way that anyone likes. I
Well-
didn't say money.
No, I didn't say money. I'm saying legacy. Doesn't it help your kids? If you had kids,
That's another
your
thing of
son?
like the name. He's carrying on the name. We have Google now.
That's true.
I know what you were. It's not like I've never heard of them in this town. What name? It's fucking medieval shit. Come on. Don't waste my time.
Goodbye. You've got mail.
Here's an email. Just letting you know, Big J and Louis J. Gomez recently said their last conversation with Patrice O'Neal was Patrice talking about how Neal was one of his favorite comedians.
Aw. That's legacy, Neal. That's
All right, well,
called
that's
legacy.
different.
Legacy when it comes to comedy is like.
Well, no, it's just hey, a
give
dead
it
guy
to me.
said something about you. That was nice. I like that because Patrice and I had long arguments. We had a 3-hour argument one time on the phone that as soon as I hung up, I was like, I wish I recorded that because it was so emblematic of his personality. Where me and Davidoff were doing a pilot. We wrote a part for him. And I called him and I was like, and he had done an episode of Chappelle Show, Player Haters Ball, and then he just wouldn't come back. Just wouldn't come back.
He was so
He had a
good.
recurring character, wouldn't come back. Wouldn't do it again. Wouldn't come back.
For what reason? Stubborn?
He didn't like supporting someone. He didn't like supporting
makes him
Dave. Honestly, he didn't
funnier.
want to be he didn't want to be like on this motherfucker's show. He wouldn't say motherfucker.
Did he ever have his own thing?
No. So, all right. So we have a 3-hour argument. I start the conversation. I go, Patrice, so me and Dub have this thing for you. I go, let me ask you this. Are you going to be an asshole? And he's like, Neal, what the fuck are you even calling me with this shit for? Like, what is that? What the fuck does that even mean? I go, exactly.
Wait, that's how you open the conversation?
Yes.
Are you going to be an asshole?
Yes. I said hello probably, but but also like fucking please. Have you ever seen his comedy? It's like what? That's how you. Yes, that's his fucking lingua franca.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't just. He didn't pick up the phone and I said, "Are you gonna be an asshole?" We exchanged things. So we have a 3-hour argument about whether he's an asshole or not. So I was like, Patrice, because he basically confessed to not wanting to be on somebody else's show. I think that's probably why he quit The Office too, because he was on like the first 6 episodes of The Office.
He was?
Yeah, him and Craig Robinson were like a pair.
Okay, I remember.
So I asked him, "Are you going to be an asshole?" We argued for 3 hours about what constitutes an asshole, whether he'd be one, and I explained to him. I was like, Patrice, when you're doing a TV show, it's so hard. So when there's someone around like you who's like sucking their teeth and like exhaling, you want to kill the person because you're so stressed out and you're like flooded with stress from having to do this job. And then at the end of the conversation, he's like, you know what, Neal? I can't promise you I'm not going to be an asshole. Anyway, so he talks about that on Opie and Anthony and kind of makes me sound like a bitch, right?
Okay.
2 months later, he calls me and goes, "I owe you an apology." I go, "Why?" And he goes, "Because I did a pilot. There was a kid on the set that just was not on board, and I wanted to fucking kill him." And so he admitted he was wrong, and then another time he just called me to say I was funny, like, which was great, and especially at early in when you're not haven't been doing stand up that long and everybody thinks you're Dave's hang around. It helps if you ever meet a young comedian who is the writing partner of one of the greatest comedians ever, be nice to him. Would you guys kill you?
Be nicer.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
You've got mail.
Can we do it? Hey there, Badinka-donk, and have a feel, Neal. LSDNE1.
Swing and a miss.
From Liverpool, England. I don't think this subject isn't talked about enough. It's unlucky what has happened to the girls.
There's a video apparently.
What's going on here?
Oh,
we're
not doing that.
Sorry, dude. Okay, next.
Well, he did say
What
something.
does he say?
My
question. Okay, go. My question is okay. So, my question is: are we at the point of no return? What could be the long-term effects of the narcissism pandemic on society? And do you think there is an unevenness in the balance of narcissism between women and men? And why? I reckon it's probably the old 70-30 split in favor of women. Thanks for the great pod. I reckon. Liverpool. So let's do the...
I don't think that I mean, he's basically just talking about social media narcissism.
Yeah.
And he thinks it's monopolized by women. I would argue that it's closer than you'd think.
Yeah.
With men. And the narcissism... Twitter's narcissism. I mean, it's not necessarily just showing your tits. It's like...
Yeah.
It's not all material.
Traditional narcissism, I think we can blame on women more because we see it like...
Right.
But it's the same shit. It just comes out different.
Yeah,
ways.
it's like whether you're... whether it's Rush Limbaugh saying I'm a talent on loan from God or anyone bloviate... I'm fucking bloviating on Twitter all the time. It's not...
Right.
It's not coming from a good place. And also I'm like, how many likes I mean,
right.
The economy of likes is... Do you see that someone sent me a video of a woman threatened her dog and the cops came and...
Threatened her dog?
The audio's bad, so there's
you.
no point looking. But the cops come and they go, why would you threaten your dog? And she goes, for followers. but not even thinking it's crazy. Like, duh, for followers.
Yeah.
She did it on social media. I don't think it's a woman this time.
What was she doing?
She threatened a dog on IG Live, I guess. They just sent me the video, but I don't think if it's worse for women, I don't think it's much worse.
No, the amount of times I follow this account called Influencers in the Wild.
Yeah, it's one of the best ideas. That kid, George Tank Sinatra.
Yeah.
It's such a good idea. And
it's great. And
I want to be one of those, like, I had that idea, but I had the idea and then I saw him and I was like, it's so great. And it got almost 4 million followers in like 6 months.
Yeah. Guys, I was an early follower and was not in the millions. You're welcome. I bought the mixtape.
He asked me to tweet about it when he asked me to fund it. I'm kidding. He asked me if I thought it was. No, it's just a fucking great idea.
So there's guys on there. When I see people doing videos, I pull out my phone immediately. It's so funny. There was these 2 Japanese or Korean kids at the beach, fully clothed, doing a dance in sync. I took 5,000
choreographed dancing apparently is the most impressive thing you can do.
Influencers in the Wild, when they show you the video that they took and then they show you what they did to make it.
I don't even look at the behind. I just look at the raw footage of like them trying to do the backflip and
the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
BTS.
Yeah. I never look at what they post.
Sometimes they'll have
do a
it
scroll,
like, oh, look how good. It's so gross.
Yeah.
Even though we're all like, at some point probably.
We're all doing it. I mean, that's the thing is, it's like, well, I'm not
it's
that
just like,
bad.
Ew,
I mean,
no one wants
you're
to
not
see.
that bad this recently.
Yeah. It's like dirty underwear.
Yeah.
Ew, did you see your underwear? It's like, everyone has dirty underwear. You know, no one wants their dirty
The
laundry
side
aired.
note was, this is a Neal name drop story.
Come on. We haven't had enough
when
of
Will
those.
Smith did his Facebook thing, Dave, I was in it, and I think mostly I was in it, Dave was in it. He was there for Dave and I bumped it, whatever. But we were all just talking shit for like a half an hour, and Q-Tip came, and then might have been me, might have been somebody else, like, hey, we should take pictures, and everybody was like, yeah. Will Smith, Dave,
really?
Cute. Everyone was excited to get a picture for Instagram.
Dave's usually not
with
very
other
pumped
people.
about
I know,
pictures.
but it's Will Smith. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like everyone's
like, hi. But it's so nobody. It doesn't matter how rich, famous. It's a new currency. It's like Bitcoin from 10 years ago is likes.
Yeah.
Like, and you can buy followers now. You can buy likes. So we're doing pretty great, guys. I'm proud of
Goodbye.
everybody.
You've got mail.
Hey, Thoughts and Feels, LSTNER here, and I would never ask the pre-ayahuasca Neal and Binky this, but what are your thoughts on manifestation? I personally think it's basically just positive thinking and confirmation bias, but I'm wondering if you have any particular feelings about it since your ayahuasca journey. Do you think people are able to manifest better things or relationships for themselves? P.S. Bianca, you have looked especially beautiful the last few podcasts. Drop your skin routine. Your skincare routine.
Okay.
Okay. But I would like to say I told you how beautiful you looked last week.
You did. You didn't say it this week.
Hair.
What? The fuck?
I didn't say I don't you don't look as good this week as you looked last week.
I think I look pretty good still.
Well, this is your Megan Thee Stallion cover.
Okay.
It's pared down.
You know what? Taking a poll. I think it's
You just looked better last week. It's just like
you like out hair. I think.
You know,
you like me without hair more.
Yes.
You do.
I do. Most women I like it back. You cover your face.
How dare you?
Manifestation.
I don't know. I believe that okay, for example, I went on a bachelorette to Mexico, and one of the girls I didn't know really well.
You went on a bachelorette.
I went. I'm not going. I would not announce that.
Okay. What do you think? I'm stupid? Yeah.
And she was a grumpy Gus, a complainer. Everything she complained about, essentially, I'm like, why did you come to Mexico? It's not America. Everything was wrong. She ordered weird drinks that didn't exist. Mango Rita, a mango lotta.
Yeah.
Everywhere she went, I was like, bitch, they don't understand that. She was always complaining before we got somewhere, complained the whole time, and complained after. But all of her food came fucked up. All of her orders came messed up. Like things that would annoy regular people. Like her orders were always the last to be made. Her drink always was miswritten down and gave to her completely incorrect. I don't know. Part of me thought, lighten up. Like, you know, I feel like she attracted
There is something
shit,
to.
you know?
I've been in. It's like those days where just a bird is more likely to shit on you.
Yeah.
On you based on your mood or something.
Yeah, it's like
I don't know. It's something. I don't think it's manifesting, but I think it's some.
It's
it
like
could be a coincidence. It might not be.
It feels like that Coen Brothers movie, right? An innocent man, a lonely man,
Yeah, innocent man. Yeah,
where it's just all is bad. It's a
or
movie
a
of
simple man.
a simple man.
It's about the Bible. I think
It's about like something
that's one
in
of
the
the
Torah.
Coen Brothers off-year movies that I don't
Yeah,
like.
we don't. That goes in with Inside Llewyn Davis.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
It's so
Go
bad.
fuck yourself for telling me that's your favorite movie.
It's
Inside, just love it.
No, you
What is-
don't.
what is it?
What
is
do you
it?
like about it?
Yes.
It never gave a payoff. The music was great. Nothing happened.
The myths people tell themselves.
I just mean, you know, isn't there something about attracting?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I think like if you look at your own life and you look at some things feel weirdly like preordained or something, and then some. I was always really into sketch comedy. I was always really into sketch comedy and one-man shows. I don't know if you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's
it's true.
or is that just passion and thought?
That's what I mean. Is it kind of the Baader-Meinhof thing where, you know, or if you're really open to, like, I know friends, like, I always get parking.
Mm-hmm.
And they do always find a spot. They always get parking. Is it like.
You know what they used to call that in the 70s? The Kojak spot.
Really?
The Kojak spot is the spot right in front of the store because that's the TV show Kojak. Whenever he pulled up to investigate, he'd always it's a fucking
That's
funny
really
joke.
funny.
Yeah, it's really funny.
70s people were funny.
Yeah, they were funny. I had a good sense of humor. They
funny.
smoked grass. Then they had a firearms problem. The shootings in the 70s and peak is 1980.
Really?
Handgun violence in America. You wouldn't think it. It's 1980.
Anywho.
Yes, I don't know. But you're right. There are people like I always get an upgrade,
and they do.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. If,
Yeah.
if you also, it's a little fake it till you make it. If you just say it, kind of does. I don't know.
But I don't think people would think to say I always like the one like they wouldn't think to do it
beforehand. It has to have happened.
You have to have it has to. It might be you're drawing a false conclusion. That's
Maybe.
entirely possible.
Or you just concentrate on the times where it works out and you're not really looking at the times where you don't find a fucking spot.
You don't remember them.
Yeah, you don't remember them.
They
yeah.
don't fit the narrative. So
Exactly.
you just like
The lies we tell us.
It's the myths.
Also, skincare routine. My friend, Brooke DeVard, has a podcast called Naked Beauty Podcast. I went on there, told my whole routine. It's a lot. And she has the best skincare recommendations for anything you got going on. She's like, it's a very good skin beauty podcast.
I put
Listen
almond
to it.
oil on my face
And in his car and on
and
his
everywhere
seats.
I need, wherever almond oil is
Greasy
sold.
motherfucker.
And I sit in the sun now for 15 minutes every day, and I'm so
Look at
pale that
him.
it shows.
Vitamin D.
Goodbye.
Hey,
You've got
Nardo and
mail.
Binks, long-time LSTNER back in 2019.
That's nice.
You took my email on the pod regarding my new long-distance relationship. Neal said he wanted to bet me that it wouldn't last, and Bianca said I was living in a fantasy world. We're pretty great people. That was definitely us. Well, our plans come to fruition, and we have been living together since March of 2020. The pandemic made us speed up our plans with school and work, becoming remote. She's great. We're great. I guess I got extremely lucky in finding someone that actually calms my anxiety and has helped me cope with mental health issues as we moved in together. something I feel rarely happens. Anyhow, with you being a newly appointed spirit padre, Neal, and Bianca as your spirit apprentice, not true.
Not
Has
true.
ayahuasca changed your mind on LDRs or relationships in general? Would you be more open to dating a woman who you met in someplace far away?
No.
No. Some things are not going to change.
Tried and true. It's good for you. Also,
Good for you for now. And also, you made it through, and then you helped yourself by speeding it up. It's no longer an LDR.
yeah, they live together.
Yeah.
No,
it's-
and we always said that, hey, if there's ever a plan to live in the same town, that's fine. It's the no, because I knew someone who just met, and then and they were dating very briefly, and then he had to move for school for a year, and then they just kept it going, moved back, married, kids. So yeah, if there's like a stop and a starting point, that's just like if a girl was like, hey, can I stay with you for a month till my apartment is ready, or till
Yeah.
my house? That's not really moving in with you, you know?
Right.
So this is not really, you guys made it work. But the indefinite, don't know, who knows?
It's a death trap. You're
Neil's
kidding yourself. and I'll bet you
Singaporean
it won't work.
girlfriend.
It won't work.
You know, it won't work.
Goodbye. You've got mail.
Hey, Neal Z and Memph Bink. give it a swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss.
Neal
Give it a- I
Z
said-
and Memphis.
Right. Big fan of the show. I just turned 38, and my current relationship has, at the 2-year mark, hit a wall that seems to be a recurring theme for me. Balancing career ambition with, being in a relationship. I'm a creative in the entertainment industry, and my partner, like many before her, feels neglected as I am constantly in self-employed creative mode. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a sociopath like the great filmmaker Woody Allen, but not a big fan of traditional leisure, and place my creative goals as a high priority that often results in me having to say no to her. Beginning to wonder if operating like this is sustainable for me, as I also crave partnership and want a relationship. I don't want her to be unhappy and feel lonely. When I've been single, I don't want her to be happy. When I've been single, but I am trying to have my cake and eat it too. I don't know what the fuck he's asking. I'm basically saying, what should he do? I don't think
a relationship is right for him.
if you can find I think he's saying he wants one, but
he
but
wants
you
it, he
don't
just doesn't
want
want
it as
them to
much
be
as the other thing. You want the other thing more, so that's the thing. Is like, what should a guy like that do?
I think there are people who can find balance, or like there's a lot of women who don't want traditional relationships either. You wouldn't know it talking to Neal, but
They don't come around me. It's a law of attraction thing.
okay, but
So many women out here are not looking for anything. Okay,
there are.
Bianca.
There
I know
are,
there.
Neal,
I
come
don't think
on,
that they
stop.
don't exist. I just think
Come
that
on,
the
Neal.
numbers are in my favor.
Maybe, but I do
Then
think
the question,
that.
yeah. go
But I
ahead.
think when guys are really forthcoming and honest, girls are also honest too. Like if a guy on first date is like, "I'm not looking for anything serious," most women aren't gonna try to make it work.
I did a joke this weekend that did so well.
Come on, lay it on me.
That men and women, when we meet each other, a man will say, "I'm not looking for anything serious," and a woman will say, "I'm not looking for anything physical," and we both think to ourselves, "We'll see."
Yeah.
And it fucking
Everyone does, right.
because it's
That's
fucking
perfect.
that's the
It's
formula.
a very good joke.
I know, it's very
Neal,
clean.
Clean.
And very, every once in a while. Patrice was
But I told you that I went on a date with a guy and he was like, I just got out of something. I'm not looking for anything serious. After our date, he asked me to go out again. I said, well, you're really clear about your boundaries and I'm more open than you. I'm not necessarily gunning for something, but I'm not closed off to it. And so, yeah, thank you for being clear. But, I don't know if it's right that we go on another date. And then he won't stop calling me.
right.
So what?
Well, that's just.
It's like
he
dangling.
He wants to make love to your vagina.
Right, but if someone's like, I don't want a casual hookup, and then you're like, he was like, no, I really like you.
I know. Well, that's
it
just the guy. What do we want to tell ourselves? It's a myth. He's reading myths.
It's after 6 months.
His night
though,
myths.
This is night myths. After 6 months, it's like, this is not good for your bottom line of having sex casually.
Yeah.
Don't bother me.
Yeah.
So I do think no matter if it's men or women, it's almost like if you're dangling someone away from something away from someone and saying, well, you can't have it because everyone gets a little, maybe I'm special enough.
Yeah, that's almost a separate issue, which is how do you, as a guy in showbiz and whatever, like pretty much every guy I know's first priority is his career.
Yeah.
And also the women, I would say
that work on their career.
Yeah, that have a good career, or that are like building toward having a good career. That's their priority. So you either have to find somebody who's okay with that, or you have to lie to them. And I suggest lying to them. Let's move on, Will.
Okay.
No, I don't. And I don't know how you find that. I don't know. Will, come on, let's get out of here. Will, whose side are you on? End the segment, Will. Yeah, it's hard to find someone who, as someone once said, no little girl grows up wanted to be dreaming of their husband. No little girl dreams of being the third most important thing in their husband's life.
True that.
So what do you do? I don't know.
Goodbye. You've got
I know
mail.
Bianca, a long time active LSTNER, first time emailer.
That's nice.
And also the first person to make it an active LSTNER, which is pretty great. I think it's going to be pretty great for us. What's y'all's preferred way to insult someone without using curse words? It's easy to call anyone a dumb motherfucker, but I'm wondering if Neal has any old man singers. Bianca, you multilingual queen. I'm curious if you have any go-to non-English insults. Mine is currently calling fools dodos. I'm a fan of ding dong, but I really put this question in here because I wanted to hear if you had any foreign shit.
Okay, Vietnamese kum kum ding 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 kum kum, which is it means crazy crazy stupid stupid. But
by the way, that's what you were calling Sun Yi earlier. You were calling it like some hum or something.
No, it's Sun Yi.
You didn't call her Sun Yi the first couple times you said it.
Really?
Yeah, you called her cum cum ding dong.
I didn't say that. Okay.
Swing and a miss.
Ding ding cum cum. Farsi. Well, it's not very nice. You can say. You can say. Well, no, it's kind of. Fucked
What's
up.
not nice about Farsi?
No. I'm thinking. So in Persian culture, the curse words and the insults are way worse. If you say this, we have to fight. There's nothing.
So is it actually worse, or it's just worse in that culture?
Koskesh means you're a pussy poker.
What does that mean? Like your dick's not big enough?
No, it just means koskesh.
Or you like fingering?
It's just, I don't know, you pussy poker, pussy puller.
Because if that's the case, call me a pussy poker. I'm as big a pussy poker.
Pimp in Farsi is not pimping. It's rude. It's like you take advantage of women. You're disgusting.
Whereas here, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Pimping.
Well, by the way, that's what pimping is anyway. It's fucking sex trafficking.
Yeah, but here we like it's
dumb that we've made sex trafficking at all. That was I would always make that observation. Like a pimp is a sex trafficker. It's cool with
that. Let's see. In German, what do we say? I don't know. What's a good thing in German? I'm not sure. Maybe like they have the same things as us. They have kind of phrases like if you think you're really fucking clever and you're not, it's
they
like,
call you a Jew.
Okay, no, what the hell?
You're Juden.
Juden, and no.
Juden, sorry.
Juden.
I've never said it. I've only read it endlessly in my night myths.
As I could sleep.
Where is my book of night myths? Bianca, honey.
There's a phrase. What is it? Have you eaten a clown for breakfast?
Really?
Hast du einen Clown zum Frühstück gegessen?
What does that mean?
Like, oh, you're so fucking funny. Did you eat clown for breakfast?
I don't mind it.
Bad. Yeah, little things. My favorite word in all languages is in Hebrew. Cover your ears, Neal. Cover your ears. It's sababa, because it means everything. You don't need to know Hebrew.
Just negative.
It's like, no, anything. Like, do I look fat in this dress? Sababa. You going to the party tonight? Sababa. Like, everything is sababa.
And is it negative?
No, it's like, it's all good.
Whatever.
Cool.
It's aloha. It's aloha. Hawaii's got a bit of a attitude with that aloha.
What do you mean?
Like it's a means hello and goodbye. Okay, cool.
You're rude.
But they keep bringing it up. Like, I know it's not that interesting. I'm sorry. I've got my state beefs are coming out today.
That's so
I'm
funny.
petty. Neil's so petty. He's petty about states. That's how petty I am. What's up, Neal Bianca, LSTNER, active listeners since day one, etc., etc. Neil, last week you mentioned dating an avoidant woman and how you spent most of your time confused and wondering if she even liked you. I don't know if this. I didn't know this was a thing until you mentioned it. And now I'm in my current situation. Makes so much sense. I've been seeing an avoidant woman for about 3 months, and it's indeed confusing. And I can never tell if she's into me, but she keeps showing up. Can you say more about my experience? No. No, they show up and you can't look to them for warmth or care.
What do you mean?
They'll have sex with you.
Avoidance?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Some look
we
just
will.
came over, an energy just crossed your
Excuse
face.
me?
But yeah, you can't look to it for the normal trappings.
What are the normal trappings, Neil?
It's like being at Cheesecake Factory, but they don't give you the vibrator and let you know when your table's ready. You just have to.
So
you gotta
funny.
ask. You gotta
Can you
ask.
please write that? That's so.
You just go
accurate.
like, "Is my table ready?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, it's been ready." Well, why not give me a vibrator? I don't know. I don't want to give you that. That's what being with an avoidant woman is like.
So funny.
Well, that's your Cheesecake Factory.
I love it. Great analogy.
Thanks. Every once in a while.
So good.
Patrice O'Neill.
Sure.
Patrice used to do that. Yeah, we'll wrap it up. Patrice used to do the joke. I've been with my girl a year. She's been with me for 3.
That's a clean one. That's a clean.
Yeah, it's fucking so funny. It's like Patrice has about 10 jokes that are like boing boing boing. Anyhow, oh, you know what I was gonna say? If you want to send in new artwork for the show, do, because it's fun to get if you feel like it.
Yeah, can we know? It was funny, but I'm a little beaver claymation fantastic on our.
Sure.
We had a good one, but
so make Bianca more
teeth,
beautiful.
My teeth
And
wild.
Just make sure I have glasses and
and an ice cream.
And I don't have to have ice cream.
I'm just joking.
I don't have to. Look, would it be nice? Of course. And we don't. I guess we just don't have to take this shit.
I guess we don't.
In closing.
Goodbye.